and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brought to you by Guaranteed Foods, official sponsor of Family Mealtime. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, a Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. A victory Monday for everybody locally, including Lee Summit North. A big weekend as capped off by the Chiefs beating the Chicago Bears 41-10. You got KU, K-State, Mizzou, Sporting. The Royals swept the Astros, and the Chiefs won against the Bears. It was a winning weekend, a victory Monday. Chiefs win 41-10 over the lowly Chicago Bears. We will talk a lot about what we can take away from this game, what we saw out there at Arrowhead Stadium yesterday afternoon, and hear from different Chiefs players and Andy Reid and some other things around the NFL. We'll get into all that as the show progresses. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Each and every day you can weigh in on the text line. Today it is a day after a Chiefs game, so you can weigh in the first couple of hours, 913-381-0810. Take your phone calls and reactions to the Chiefs winning and dominating the Chicago Bears 41-10. So 913-381-0810. Got a couple of open hours to talk about and break down and discuss what we learned from the Chiefs from the weekend. And then we'll hear from Field Yates. We'll talk with him coming up at noon. Andy Reid's press conference coming up at 12:30. Mick Schaefer hanging out with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best also to come right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. So let's talk about the game. Chiefs win 41-10 over the Chicago Bears. And I've done 2 radio interviews since then.
Were either of them about the game?
Neither were about the game.
I'm so jealous.
Both of them. Oh, by the way, before we let you go, the Chiefs seemed really, really good, too. They beat the Bears 41-10. What's going on with the Chiefs team? Really awesome defense, and they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So I think that the best team in the AFC, and that's because of the best defense the Chiefs have had. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it. There's James Anderson.
They'll get your name right when you're talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Joining us to talk about the Taylor Swift Chiefs, talk about the Chiefs, I'm not sure. Talk about Travis Swift, Taylor Kelce out there at Arrowhead Stadium as the Taylor Swift show with the background of 2 football teams playing.
One football team, maybe 1.5.
Went to watch Taylor Swift, and a football game broke out while I was there. It was crazy. So, yeah, that's the national news. TMZ, the celebrity sites, all about what's going on out at Arrowhead Stadium yesterday. And apparently we had never seen Taylor Swift at a football game. And so that was big news for the Swifties to see what she looks like as a real human, watching football and celebrating. And I don't know why it humanized her even more. And I felt like even more endearing when she dropped the "Let's effing go."
That's the moment right there. If you can't find the joy in that moment, you have no joy.
Like, wow, she's a real person.
Yes,
well, boy,
absolutely.
Real boy. She's just like us. Only she's maybe the most famous person on earth, but just like us.
But just like us. Listen. I'm never going to know what it's like to have all of that money. But I do know what it's like to yell, "Let's effing go" during a Chiefs game.
That's right.
Now Taylor Swift and I have at least one thing in common.
And
we both love Travis Kelce. Well, I love Travis Kelce. We both like Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Dylan knows what it's like to sit right next to Donna Kelce.
I know. We talked about that a little last night.
That happened on Friday. So Dylan right next to Donna Kelce on Friday, and then Taylor Swift right next to Donna Kelce. I'm not sure which one I'm more proud of.
I'm more proud of Dylan.
I am way more proud of Dylan.
But almost everybody in like at least Kansas City media, and I really think everybody in like Kansas City Chiefs fans, certainly people who go to games, every Chiefs fan now has a story about being 1 or 2 degrees of separation away from Taylor Swift. That Kevin Bacon game has now gotten so small. It's like, yeah, no, I've talked to Travis Kelce, now you talk to Taylor Swift. Boom, 1 degree.
Coached a Little League team a long time ago. One of the kids on the team, his girlfriend sitting right next to Taylor Swift in the suite. Was like, I recognize that. How do I recognize that girl? It looks familiar.
So do you have a read on
sure.
what that was? That had to be like the Kelce suite, I think, because Donna was there. But I didn't know who the crowd.
I didn't have a conversation with him or hers. I have no idea. I'm just saying it was on Facebook, right? And I'm like, oh my God, Sam's girlfriend's right there.
That's so funny.
Wow, I thought she. Oh my goodness, what the heck? I should call Sam. Haven't talked to him in 15 years. Hey man, what's going on? What are you doing this weekend?
Hey. Did you just call me at halftime of the Chiefs game? Aren't you working?
And then my wife was like, well, she's from Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is, over by Bowling Green. And when I was in college, one of my sorority sister's best friend, her boyfriend broke up with her to date Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Back before she was Taylor Swift. So she's like, I kind of have a connection there.
Yeah.
It's like a friend of a friend that got dumped by a guy to date Taylor Swift. Like, everybody's got something.
Everybody's got something. One.
Now there's like, it's like, you know what? I touched Kelce that one time, and then he touched Taylor Swift. So I feel like I'm 1 person degree of separation from making contact with her. So yeah, it's nuts, man. It is crazy. The hoopla surrounding that game in an otherwise very what would be unentertaining nationally game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bears fans probably, don't, not even probably, they don't want to watch that.
No.
There were bars in Chicago that people are tweeting about that they turned the Bears game off.
Hilarious.
That they switched from the Bears game in bars in Chicago, that they just stopped watching it. So nationally it would be, wow, the Chiefs beat them 41-10. But the Dolphins scored 70.
Right.
So if we're talking about a real dominating win, the Dolphins scored 70. Chiefs are 41-10, but the Bears suck. Dolphins scored 70. Unbelievable. Chiefs would just sort of be like, okay, that happened. It's a dog bites man. But the story becomes this pop culture phenomenon that she just happens to be in this break from her U.S. and European eras tour, that now she can start this budding relationship with Travis Kelce, if it's an actual relationship, or are they friends? They just, hey, meeting you, big fan, blah, 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 big fan of yours. And they start hanging out and talking, and they're friends. And, hey, come to Arrowhead. And she comes to Arrowhead Stadium, and everybody's like, oh, man, they're dating. And like, oh, this is so funny that they think we're dating. Blah, blah, blah. And there's pictures of them leaving the stadium, pictures of them driving away in his convertible. Walter Payton's son got the video that everybody's talking, like.
It's NFL Mad Libs. It's NFL Entertainment Mad Libs, dude. It's crazy.
The video of Kelce and Taylor Swift walking down the tunnel together was taken by Walter Payton's son. I mean, it is.
It's ridiculous.
I've said that long time sports are the soap opera of males and females, the modern day soap opera, and this is just one big plot twist.
This is a
in the
huge
whole
crossover
thing.
episode. We are merging franchises
Wow,
here.
what is going on with this?
This is the Young in the Days of Our Lives combo episode.
That's right.
Could they ever do crossovers on the same network?
I
need to call my mom.
I have no, TGIF sometimes did crossovers with like Family Matters and things like that. It's like, oh my God, they're in the same universe now.
Mom, text me and
crazy.
let me know if Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives ever did a crossover, and just if you're proud that I remembered 2 soaps that you used to watch and maybe still watch. I don't know.
Probably. You don't have to watch that now because you got this.
You've got this instead. I mean, what could possibly be better than this?
There's 50 things to talk about from the game, and there's about 150 other things that have come out since the game and all of that stuff. So.
My only regret, the only thing about
only
this
regret
week,
in life?
well, of this week at least,
Okay.
of this weekend, the only thing that I'm upset about is that there are so many things to talk about both in and around the Chiefs game, because we could have done a week of shows on 70 points against the Denver Broncos. Could have done a whole week.
Yeah.
No breaks. Dylan, kill the commercials.
All gas, no brakes.
We're dunking on the Broncos for 5 days straight.
Oh, there are probably people in Denver that want to pour gas on that.
I bet
Just light the
they
fire.
do.
What about Sean Payton asked about, you've given up 70 points like 3 times, Sean. feels like a you thing, not necessarily a Broncos thing. Yeah, is there a question there? Nope. Not at all. Just figured I'd put that out there.
Just wanted to roast your ass, Sean.
In case you didn't know that this should not be something new to you.
So funny.
If another team were to give up 70 points, would they call you to see how to react to that? What do you do with having a team that has given up 105 points in the last week?
7 days.
Less than 7 days because they played an early game.
Oh, yeah,
And
wow.
then they played the late game last week, so less than 7 days.
100 points in a week, man.
They gave up 105 points in a week.
It's not one of those fun things where it's like, oh, it's Thursday, Sunday, so in No. 2 games. 2 games.
70 burger on them. And you know what? That Chiefs-Bears game could have easily been like a 60-something to 17 game.
I missed the BCS because in a BCS system, the Chiefs were putting up 75. I think they were breaking the scoring record.
And
although the Dolphins would have too.
And it's unfortunate because if Patrick Mahomes stays in the game, I don't think they get that field goal, the Bears, because Blaine Gabbert comes in, throws the interception, short field for the Chiefs defense, again, gives up 3 points. And then the 7 points are when all the backups were in. So, I mean, even those 10 points, as we're looking at and saying, adding context to the scoring drives the Chiefs defense has given up this year, there's only a couple like actual legit scoring drives. A touchdown drive by the Lions, the 2 field goal drives by the Jags, and nary against the Bears. I mean, they wanted the shutout. They wanted the shutout, and when they put the 3 points on the board, then they went ahead and put the backups in. I think if the Bears, if the Chiefs don't throw the interception and they punt the ball away, and the Bears get stopped there, I think it's 41-0. I think the Chiefs keep their defense in because they want the 0 on the board. They want that defensive shutout. And the under would have hit too, but it's not the point. That's not the point.
Oh,
it's not the point.
No, it's not.
It's a part of the point. It's not the point.
It is something that you just reminded me of.
It is. I texted you guys at halftime. I'm like, the Chiefs' offense is going to be too good for the under.
We literally joked last week, like, the Chiefs can't get there by themselves. Totally would have.
Well, that's what I said.
Totally would have.
If the over hits, it's because the Chiefs are really going to get there by themselves because the Bears aren't scoring more than 10 points in this game.
Nope.
I just thought maybe it was 37-10 or something like that.
Our analysis was so close to being so good. Damn you, Vegas.
And then that third down touchdown to Travis Kelce. That was 4 points. You know, it's 38-10. If it's not, or it's 37-10, I should say. 37-10, and they're the under of 48 and 47.5, both hit. But we had to do this for Taylor Swift. They had to get Travis Kelce a touchdown. Had to make sure that he ran his route that he just sort of ad-libbed and found space, blank space, if you will, somewhere in the defense of the Bears, which turns out there was a lot of.
There was so much blank space.
That is, that is one of the actual takeaways from this.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes said after the game, and gosh, I don't know which one it is.
I'll try to help. Which one are you looking for?
It's the one that he was talking about. I think it's the long pass to Watson, but the one... No, it was the running game. It's the running... Let's play the Patrick Mahomes running game because this is an actual point about what happened with the Chiefs on Sunday. Let's play Patrick Mahomes talking about getting the running game going.
Yeah, it was important for us. Not only for me, but I think for the offensive line and for how teams are playing us with those zone coverages, we're going to have to run the football. And so to be able to get those guys going downhill, making the run plays, it opens up everything else. And I talked about it a little bit there after the game, but when the run game gets going, that's when the offense gets going. And people see the high flying, they see the throws and stuff like that. But that physicality that you have in the run game, that's what takes the offense over the top. And so I was glad we were able to get that going.
So we talked about the run game there, which matters. It does matter. But the small snippet in that 28 seconds, that's probably about 4 or 5 seconds or so, was him saying the way the teams are playing us with a lot of zone defense and things like that.
That is why I cut that clip. I was like, well, I don't need a running game
that's awesome.
Propaganda, but that's
awesome because they had talked about the struggles of 11 guys that you're throwing to getting on the same page. And against the zone defense, you're sort of finding the areas and you're reading it along with Patrick Mahomes. And the fact that the offense looked that efficient against a defense that the Bears were saying, you suck against the zone, we're only going to play zone defense here. We're just going to play zone defense and zone defense and zone defense and make you prove that you're going to be able to beat it, because the first 2 weeks you have not done that. Mm-hmm. And he was off with Rashee Rice on the first drive, that it was open. It was there. And Rashee Rice slowed his route down, and he needed to keep going. I think that was the first drive, right? Was it the first drive to Rashee Rice?
I think the first drive was the only drive that did get derailed. So that's, yes, it was. Because the first target was to Ross, which he should have brought in. And then, later on, Mahomes to Rice over the middle. But that's, and Rice slowed up there. So I don't know. It looked, I haven't gotten to go back and rewatch it. So I don't know. At the time, it looked like to me like Rice should have put a little more juice on his route there.
And it showed from the end zone angle. As Mahomes was throwing it, Rice sort of started to curl and stop. Yeah. And as Mahomes lets it go, then Rice all of a sudden takes 2 steps to his right, and it's too late. So it looks like Mahomes let him too late when the camera pans over, but Rice slowed down, and Mahomes is like, yeah, you got to keep going, because that's the space in the zone I want you to get there, and I want you to be at that spot.
Which, a quick aside, Rashee Rice has been really good at that, actually.
Yeah.
He started and ended this game poorly. Everything in the middle was really excellent.
Absolutely.
Specifically, he looks comfortable out there.
Like, I know that there was another interception attributed to a Chiefs quarterback that was a wide receiver's fault.
Yeah.
But one of the notes that I took from this game was Rashee Rice and how he played and getting open, because people talked about, and I talked about, in when he was in college, that it's like, well, I mean, how good is he going to be in route running? Because he saw so much zone coverage. Like, he could find space in zone, but, those routes when you're going, can he win man-to-man, one-on-one? That's what the Chiefs need. They need a guy that can win one-on-one in man coverage. Well, the struggles that we've seen with zone, to me, were a little surprising, because that's something that Rashee Rice was so good at. But it's also not surprising at the same time because of all the nuances in Andy Reid's offense, with Patrick Mahomes reading the same thing. And I think that will get there. And if they keep playing zone against the Chiefs, I think Rashee Rice is going to be a target the Chiefs go to, because he was really good at that in college. That was, to me, it wasn't just the Chiefs dominated the Bears. Mm-hmm. It was that the Bears did something the Chiefs hadn't been able to figure out to this point. It's only 3 weeks, and it had only been 2 weeks, but hadn't been able to figure out, and they toasted them doing that.
I agree with every single thing across the board there. The one other element, Taylor Swift or not, Travis Kelce looked like himself yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
And he wasn't out there in week 1, and he wasn't quite right in week 2. We could see that evidently. Today, I think I used the word vintage like 3 times in my notes throughout the game of Mahomes buys time and finds Kelce. Vintage stuff. Mahomes buys time and finds Kelce for 8 yards the first down. Vintage. That aspect of the offense is... Stop me if you've heard this before. Travis Kelce is really important to the Chiefs' offense. That aspect of it is vital, but having a guy who does look comfortable finding the spots in the zone. It was his touchdown in week 2, and again, several times today. Rashee Rice was legitimately 3 feet from 2 touchdowns, I think, in total.
Yep.
He was earning Mahomes' trust and getting into positions that, I don't mean to throw shade to other young receivers who the Chiefs have had, but Sky Moore has not looked that comfortable in this offense until maybe, honestly, yesterday. That can also be attributed to the Bears secondary, which we briefly talked about on Friday, is a garbage fire.
Absolutely.
But how many times over just the Mahomes and Reid era, in the best of times, how many times have we said, oh, Chiefs let him hang around. Oh, they played down to the level of their opponent. Oh, they let him stick around, and now they're paying for it at the end. We've talked about that maybe a dozen times, and only a few times it ends in a loss, but it happens every once in a while, and it's usually against an AFC South team. But yesterday was an absolute drubbing, the final score you expect in what looks like a homecoming game, and they completely handled that business. Like I don't feel any guilt whatsoever about seeing the positives completely dunking on a sorry Bears team.
There are plenty of times when I am dead wrong about Chiefs score that I think is going to happen, mainly the first 2 weeks of the season. But I did pick it 34-10.
That's pretty good.
And
that's pretty good.
I thought this would and I think I even talked about, like, I don't know how the 10 points are, but it might be, it might be late to where they get to 10. I thought maybe a late field goal or something, just to, whatever. You had it 27-10.
Yep.
Dylan had it 27-17, and Mick Schaefer had it 24-14 because he's dumb.
Doesn't trust the Chiefs defense, the Chiefs offense. So dumb. He gave them 3 less points than I did. What an idiot.
Points. What a dummy. So yeah, we all thought it would be double digits. It was, And that's the point that I made last night on Sunday Sound Off was I don't care that it was the Bears. They lost to the Colts last year. They went to overtime with the Texans.
Yep.
What you just said is exactly right. How many times have we seen a Chiefs team play close against a bad team, or the game is getting out of hand, and then all of a sudden that team gets back in, and you're like, what in the hell? How is this thing? How do they have the ball in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go, and they're 2 possessions away? They can score here and then, get the ball back, and now all of a sudden the defense is going to have to go out there and play like, a top-level type, fourth quarter when this thing was all but over. And that didn't happen from jump. They were all over the Bears. If there was any question about Travis Kelce saying this is a high-alert game in the locker room, those questions were answered with how they came out and the way the defense came out and the way the offense came out. They were not taking anybody lightly on Sunday, and they put a good old-fashioned whooping on the Chicago Bears yesterday. And it was nice because so many times we go, man, can't the Chiefs just go out there every once in a while and just beat a team down and have a non-stress game, have a game that is not stressful whatsoever, just go out there and just enforce their will to show that they are the bullies, on the playground. And they did that. And I'm not going to then back that up and go, yeah, but it's the Bears.
Right.
Yeah, but no. No, we've asked for that. We've asked for them to go and beat a team down and bully them and just crush their spirit. And they did that. And that's what dominant teams do. They go and they beat teams down.
Who were the 2 most dominant teams in football for the first 2 weeks of the season?
The Dolphins.
I agree.
And the Cowboys.
I would agree with that. And Dylan talked to the Niners.
Probably
That's
Niners,
fair.
yeah.
The Cowboys, though, on both sides of the football, look like a legit 2 weeks absolute Super Bowl contender. And then they lost to a team who's tanking. That's the NFL, baby. Bleep happens. Weird bleep happens. And the Chiefs said yesterday, no. Not in front of Taylor Swift.
Not in my house. Not while she is here. Okay. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. Do and remind you, Johnny's Tavern, the Metro's premier sports bar, discounting the 18-inch New York-style specialty pizza for every KC game the Monday after a Chiefs game. For every point the Chiefs score, they are going to take a percentage off the New York-style specialty pizza. It is dine-in only. So today, Johnny's 41% off. That's right, 41% off today. Dine-in only, 18-inch New York-style specialty pizza at Johnny's Tavern. Go to johnnystavern.com for all of the daily specials. But Monday after a Chiefs game, Chiefs win, and they put up a lot of points. 41% off today on the New York-style specialty pizza. That is an 18-inch specialty pizza, dine-in only, and they will be going to New York on Sunday and eating a little bit more, will the Chiefs. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. We continue rolling along on this Monday, Victory Monday for the Chiefs, 41-10 winners over the Bears. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Taking your phone calls up until noon. We'll talk with Field Yates coming up at noon. Andy Reid about 12:30 or so. Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. 913-381-0810 to be a part of the show. Here's Patrick Mahomes after the game was over, weighing in on Taylor Swift being at the game and it being, I don't know, Kelsey just sort of being casual about the whole thing. But here's Patrick Mahomes weighing in on Taylor Swift being there.
Yeah, I mean, she's a pop star. She's a tremendous singer, tremendous at everything she does. And I haven't got to meet her. But, I mean, I guess if she ends up being with Travis, then I'll probably get to meet her at some point. So it seems like a good person. So hopefully I get to meet her one day.
Did you know she was going to be here? Did you tell anyone that?
Yeah, but he told me at like the last minute. But there's some things with Trav where he kind of just says it, and you're like, you don't know if it's true or not. He says it so calmly. I mean, I remember one time he was like, "Hey, I'm going to go to one of the World Series or one of the playoff baseball games." And I'm like, "You said it so randomly," and then he just went, and I was just like, "But the same thing." It was like Friday. He was just like, "Yeah, I think she's coming to the game today," and then just moved about to the game this weekend, and moved about his business. So you're kind of like, I guess that just happens. I guess so. I don't know. It's Travis.
It's Travis. I mean, I was wondering, like, okay, how does she show up? Because it wasn't announced beforehand, like, hey, Taylor Swift's going to be there. So if you're, like, in the suite level, you don't know. And she shows up with, like, that tan hat.
Well, I didn't see the arrival fit.
Yeah, so there were pictures of her going into the suite from Arrowhead Stadium, going into the doors that are the suite level. And she had the Chiefs jacket on, but she had, like, a tan hat that was like down over her eyes or whatever, and some other people around her. So she's just walking, and I wonder how many people are like, I saw that girl. That was Taylor Swift the whole time. But then leaving, you see the videos of like everybody that was congregating and loitering in the suite area waiting for her to leave, and the police presence of like, y'all got to go.
Yeah.
She's not coming out of that suite until this is clear, until this whole thing in the suite level is empty. She's not leaving that suite. You're going to be loitering here very soon. Let's go. People just standing there with their phones out, waiting for her to walk out of the Kelsey suite. And the police and bodyguards and everything. That wasn't happening. She wasn't going to walk out and just start taking pictures with people. It's like she was just there to watch a game, watch her friend / boyfriend, love interest / future motivation for songs, be there and see maybe a football game for the first time in her life. I have no idea, but she certainly was enjoying it. The security to leave once the cat was out of the bag that she was there, much different than it showed the security showing up with her just walking into the suite level area, walking up through the parking lot to Arrowhead Stadium.
Kansas City's earned a reputation of being like a pretty cool place for super famous people to not get super crowded around and everything. Like, we've been pretty cool about that, everybody. Let's keep trying to be cool about that, everybody.
Nah, this is different.
I know this is different.
And she understands that.
Absolutely. This is not her first rodeo, no question.
It's one thing, or tour, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think she was ever in the rodeo. She might have been. Well, she was very big into country music.
Yeah,
back in
but
the day,
she's
so
been
she
to a rodeo.
She's certainly played some rodeos before. She's done some things
absolutely.
like that. Yeah. Like, it's one thing for Patrick Mahomes to be a guy who's in college and comes into the NFL as a rookie quarterback and is like, oh, hey, there's Patrick Mahomes. He's the backup quarterback, but he was the 10th overall pick. And then he becomes Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, oh, I just want to go out to eat. Or calling beforehand to say, hey, we're going to go out to eat. I mean, that's sort of all brand new. So, like, do you ever get used to it? How quickly do you get used to it? Does it start to become annoying? Where Taylor Swift's entire life for a decade
at least
has been this.
Yeah.
To where she leaves the house, you've got, an entourage with you that, hey, you've got to hang out here in the suite for a while and apparently clean up.
She was picking up some stuff that was out front there. Somebody tweeted that, look.
It's like, well, I ain't going anywhere for a while, so I might as well clean while I'm here.
Making a big show out of cleaning up in front of the parents is a time-honored tradition. It's somebody tweeted that it's a classic move there, and it really is.
Oh, that's a great point.
You've got to be like, hey, you know what? Am I the biggest pop star in the world? I am. But am I going to throw away my own bottles or whatever? Yeah, because I'm a considerate person.
Yeah, I'm an actual person, Donna. Okay? Yeah, I will help.
I'm not just some big star like you, okay? I'm also a regular girl. I haven't birthed 2 future Hall of Famers.
Oh my God, Taylor Swift sitting next to Donna Kelsey. Can you believe that?
It really did make me so happy. It's just silly.
The dominance for the Chiefs, and we got a couple people on hold that we'll get to. The dominance of the Chiefs to me, and then the story comes down to it comes down to 2 Taylors. The national view of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And the local view of Jawan Taylor.
Yeah.
And what's going on with the Chiefs offensive line. I do want to get into that because there is evidence of being, quote unquote, picked on.
Yes.
And it's pretty stark. Let's bring in Jerry to the conversation, leading us off here on this Victory Monday for the Chiefs, winning 41-10. Jerry, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Oh, I was wondering how I was going to approach this. I should start by saying hello, guys.
What's up, Jerry?
But I was listening to the Royals yesterday, and I got to hear 4 home runs. I loved it. It was awesome. And then all of a sudden to turn on the Chiefs game on the radio and to see Travis Kelce hit a grand slam home run up into the private suite, that blew my mind.
It was unbelievable.
5 touchdowns, and 2 field goals. Chris Booyah Jones got to get him a sack along with the other guys that got him. And then the thing, I hope nobody said this yet, when Travis Kelce got his touchdown and they showed Taylor Swift up in the deal, she stood up and was cheering everything, and then Kelsey's mom stood up, and after that, she said, you guys as married people should know this. She said those 3 magic words, let's effing go.
It was great.
And I loved it. It was awesome. But, yeah, that made the whole game for me.
Jerry, thank you for the phone call, man. I appreciate it.
It's the best.
And just the juxtaposition of the two to where Taylor Swift is jumping up and chest bumping and screaming, let's effing go, and Donna Kelsey is golf clapping. Like, hey, my son scored another touchdown.
But
you're excited, Taylor, to do this?
You said it was, what? She was clapping like what now?
Like the royal family at a tennis match almost.
Donna Kelsey was like, Donna Kelsey's looking to right. This girl is so annoying.
It's like she hasn't seen Travis Kelce score a touchdown before.
This ain't gonna last very long if she keeps this up. That's all I'm saying. But no, it was great. She's let's effing go, and she's chest bumping and pounding the glass. And Donna Kelsey's like, all right, another touchdown. Oh yeah, 41-0. Yay!
Bravo, Travis.
41-0. All right.
That's my boy.
Yes. Let's go to Sonny next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sonny, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
What's up, fellas? I'm enjoying the show so far.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of it.
So, and I think everybody on social media has seen the pictures of Kelsey and Swifty pulling out an Arrowhead and the drop-top convertible. I just hope Kelsey took her on the real KC tour and, went to Go Chicken Go and maybe got her a James Lemonade or, swung by the New Bally's or something like that. But, no, I actually wanted to chime in here about the football game itself. I was so happy with the wide receivers yesterday, particularly with Rice, man. After that first game and all the drops with Tony and everybody, and everyone saying, man, we should have signed D-Hop, or we should have got a number 1 receiver, this, that, and the other. Listen, you got to go back to Andy Reid's Philly days, and even before he signed T.O., he would roll out 4 number 3 receivers and, let McNabb go to work. And I think that's kind of the same thing with Pat here in this offense. And I'm just glad to see these wide receivers as it's progressing. I know it's only week 3, but as it's coming along, I'm glad to see Rice stepping up, and he should have had 2 touchdowns. And I'm glad to see Sky Moore doing his thing and all that. So I just wanted to drop that 2 cents. I'm going to still be listening, fellas. You guys keep rocking it.
Sonny, I appreciate that, man. It's a great point because I look at the targets, the receptions, the yards, and everything. I think what makes the Chiefs their best version of themselves this year, and it's not a no matter how they play, but what would make the Chiefs the best version of themselves is if the top 3 targets and receivers are Kelsey, Rice, Sky Moore in some way, shape, or form. Throw in Tony when he's healthy. They try to get him the ball early, had -1 yard receiving.
Also 2 offensive snaps.
Yeah.
I by the time we were doing the post-game show, I had forgotten until I saw him in the box score, 1 catch -1 yard. I completely forgot, which makes sense. He's only the 2 snaps.
So he had that 1 throw out to the outside. They got him pretty quickly, and then it was like, all right, so maybe he's a little more injured than they thought, or maybe they just didn't need to have him in the game.
No reason to push him yesterday.
Justin Ross, the first play of the game was out to Justin Ross, and it was a great play by the defensive back. But Kelsey, 8 targets, 7 receptions. Rashee Rice, 7 targets, 5 receptions. Sky Moore, 6 targets, 4 receptions. Then you had McKinnon and Justin Watson and Pacheco and MVS. And I think those are the roles that those guys will play. But if you're talking about, and Tony when he's healthy, get him the ball in space, do some different things, whether it's gadget plays or it's package plays, whatever it might be. They felt like, Tony can be a number one receiver. We'll see as this season goes along. But you've spent 2 second-round draft picks on wide receivers that don't necessarily need to be a true number one Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs like that. Can you complement Travis Kelce to where the guys you're looking at are Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Sky Moore? Mm-hmm. And then mixing in Watson on a play here. They're MVS for 37 yards.
MVS should have had 2 for 75 and a touchdown, honestly.
Doubt.
I mean,
doubt.
that makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, 100%.
If that's officiated correctly. Whoops, who said that?
Not me.
No, must have been me then.
I think it's perfectly fine. Let's get into that. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-381-0810. Text line as well, 913-912-4810. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling on this Victory Monday. Chiefs win 41-10. The Tigers win over the Memphis Tigers. KU wins against the Cougars. And K-State takes care of the Knights. And the Royals take care of the Astros. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Just ridiculous.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 W8.
All right, wrapping up this first hour, let's bring in Kenny to the conversation to talk a little Chiefs football, winning 41-10 over the Chicago Bears. They get ready for the New York Jets on Sunday night there in New York. Kenny, what's on your mind? Go right ahead, sir.
Hey, yeah, man. I just first-time caller. I love to listen to you guys.
All right, hooah. Welcome.
My only comments on the Jawan Taylor situation.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know it's like they're picking on him and stuff, but they've got to get this fixed because yesterday we could have lost our quarterback because after that touchdown, they got called back the next play when he got rolled up on the ankle, and it wouldn't have happened that play if it hadn't have been for Taylor.
Yeah,
Getting called that penalty, you know.
Yeah,
a little scary.
Yeah, no doubt. Kenny, I appreciate the phone call, man. I will say that what I wrote down in the notes that I had during the game was the illegal formation, right, at that play, and it took off the MVS touchdown. And then he's right. The next play, the ankle got rolled up on. It is very selective right now. It's picking and choosing because you cannot differentiate between one play or the other. In fact, if you look at the play after the illegal formation, Jawan Taylor is actually a little bit further back. Not only did he not adjust, he was actually a little bit further back. His left foot is lining up exactly in line with Trey Smith's right foot.
Yes, right.
Which, but his back foot is back, so that means that his ass is a little bit further back, which means that his helmet's a little bit further back, especially when he's sitting up and not in a three-point stance. Yeah. It's very selective, but as it being selective, he's got to fix it. I mean, he has to overcorrect until the officials stop looking at that. And when the Chiefs are on the side of the field, whichever way they're going down the field, when Jawan Taylor is on the opposing team's side of the field, that's when he's going to have to be more aware of it. Because the officials calling illegal formation are the officials that are closest to Jawan Taylor on the other side of the field, on the opponent's side of the field for the Chiefs. And it happened twice with the side of the field with the Bears, with Jawan Taylor and illegal formation. Both of those were indiscernible from other stances that he had throughout the game. And the same thing with the Jags. The illegal formation that he was called for was indiscernible from other plays. And if you want to just say, well, he's lining up illegal every single time, then call it every single time.
I would far prefer that.
And if he's not, or I would say, why one time you call it and another time you don't, it's just selective. It's like, do I want to call it now? Okay, I've given it a little bit of time between. I guess I can call it again. All right, I've let it breathe a little bit. I don't want to be over. I kind of want to get involved in the game here. I haven't really done much. Okay, let me just throw this flag, and it's going to be a legal formation. We'll talk more about this in the next hour, but I want people to think about this. Since week 1, the NFL is cracking down on this, on the false starts, on the illegal formations. He was called for a couple of false starts against the Jags. None yesterday. Called for 1 illegal formation against the Jags. 2 yesterday. That is certainly something that has to be fixed, but there is evidence of it being Jawan Taylor being picked on.
Another summer ending, and maybe you notice this summer that your energy is lower and your work.
Zone is brought to you by Guaranteed Foods, official sponsor of Family Mealtime. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Field Yates coming up an hour from now. Our ESPN NFL insider, Andy Reid, will have his press conference today. We'll hear from Andy Reid. And then Mick Schaefer will hang out with us for the final hour. Learn funniest best still to come as well. Let's hear from Andy Reid when he was asked about Jawaan Taylor and the penalties. Here's Andy Reid weighing in on the 2 illegal formation penalties for Jawaan Taylor yesterday.
Yeah, last week we had like over 400 yards, and we were shooting ourselves in the foot with some of the penalties, and we cut down on that a bit. I think, I checked out at all the looks that our right tackle got called on today, and I'm seeing it on both sides of the ball. I'm seeing it with our left tackle. I mean, he might be being picked on just a little bit here, but I felt today. I thought they did a good job the week before, but today I thought it was too much. I mean, I wasn't seeing it, but still we got to keep working on that and get through this.
Why did you take him out then? You didn't think it was on him today?
Well, I subbed out some guys, just and he also got hit in the mouth and he's got a little cut in there that wasn't feeling too good. And he'll be fine. I mean, he's not. I'm trying to hide that from you, Adam.
So I do want to get into the. We were taking some guys out, and he was hitting the mouth, and he'll be fine, and things like that.
Citation needed.
Yeah, I just want to get into that here in just a second. But Patrick Mahomes weighing in on Jawaan Taylor and what has been a discussion around the NFL based on one particular player.
Yeah, it's wild to me. I mean, when you go back and look at the tablet and they're both in the exact same spot, I don't understand it. It's hard because he's playing great football and he's getting these penalties thrown on him. And I mean, I know it's hard to be to officiate, but I watch a lot of tape and he's no deeper than any other tackle in the league. I mean, there's other guys that are even further back than he is. So it's crazy to see, and hopefully it kind of calms down as the season goes on. But I mean, he's making adjustments, and it seems like even with his adjustments, they're not good enough, I guess.
So since week 1, when the NFL said they are going to crack down on the debacle that was at Thursday Night Football, they are going to crack down on illegal formation because people were talking about the false start, this or the false start's fine. I mean, it's just, you could talk about the false start, is he getting off it? But the illegal formation, that has to be fixed. Okay. This was an emphasis by the NFL in the league. Do you know how many illegal formation calls there have been? If you've seen this stat so
I believe I have,
okay.
yeah.
So then I won't even ask that. I'll just say it.
Is it 5?
There have been 11 illegal
That's
formations.
Maybe then. Okay.
11 total illegal formations since week 2. Since week 1, 11 total.
Okay, going back to week
1. 3 have been called on an offensive tackle for illegal formation. That's just overall illegal formation. Tackle can be covered up. Illegal formation this. 11 illegal formation calls since week 1. 3 of them have been a tackle aligned illegally. Now, if I do my quick math, I believe there was 1 on Jawaan Taylor against Jacksonville and 2 yesterday on Jawaan Taylor against the Bears.
I believe that adds up to 3, Jason.
Hold on. I got to go and...
Sorry, I didn't mean to rush your math.
New math now. It's 3.
It's 3!
Which is very similar to the number of penalties in the overall NFL that have been called on a tackle lining up illegally and too far back. 3 of them.
I thought I saw there had been 5 called on tackles and 3 on Jawaan Taylor. That's even funnier.
I've seen 11 and 3.
Unbelievable.
11 total, 3 on Jawaan Taylor, and even if there were 5 total,
that might have been O-lines or tight ends or something. I'm not sure. I just tweeted.
Even if there were 5 total, then 3 of them being one particular player. When, I did kind of like Andy Reid catching himself when he was like, well, the left tackle was doing, well, I mean, I guess I don't want to have the left tackle called with legal formation. Well, son of a bitch. Just it seems like other guys, it just seemed fine. Maybe they're picking on him a little bit. It's like, well, hell, our left tackle's doing it too. Why are they only calling it on Jawaan Taylor? Because they're picking on him. Why don't you call it on Donovan Smith? Wait a minute. That's not the point I want to make here.
Oh, both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball.
Yes.
There we go. That's them too.
Yeah, call it on their stupid tackles that are also lining up. What becomes annoying in, okay, so what's illegal formation? What's not illegal formation? Okay, well, you got to be on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so is it your feet? Is it one of your feet that's on the line of scrimmage, or is it where your helmet is? Because what defines it, and maybe I'm just dumb that there's an actual definition to this, which is fine.
There's supposed to be, it's about the helmet and the belt of the center and all of that. There is a definition to the rule that is not how it's currently enforced.
So if the helmet has to be at the belt of the center, the way Jawan Taylor is setting up his feet, if he were in a three-point stance like Trey Smith, his helmet would be like in the middle of Creed Humphrey's back. Not only would it be, but he's sitting up. So he's in a two-point stance, and his back foot is cocked back, which is legal to be able to do that, because just like a wide receiver that's lining up on the line of scrimmage, they don't have to have both feet next to each other. Your foot can be back just like a wide receiver. His left foot is lined up pretty much identical, right in line with Trey Smith's right foot. So if Jawan Taylor were to put his hand down, which then would take his body going forward, which would take his head going forward, which would be to the mid-back of Creed Humphrey. So that's sort of the point of like the annoyance of, is he off the line of scrimmage or on the line of scrimmage? Well, the helmet isn't there, so he needs to lean forward a little bit more. But apparently the snap count is not something that they were that mad about, although that seems to be adjusted.
That actually did seem, he didn't seem slower, but he didn't seem like he was pushing that envelope, and that seemed like a good adjustment.
And he seemed just fine. I mean, the protection was stellar.
He's been good.
For Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes had all day. And by the way, he did a phenomenal job of hanging out in the pocket a lot. Sliding around the pocket, not just bailing and getting out and trying to, clear the vision for the entire field. He was hanging out in the pocket, and I think he probably has seen the last couple of weeks of, there's pretty good protection that's holding up here. I probably need to trust that a little bit more. But I can understand why there's a hesitancy from Patrick Mahomes to hang out in the pocket, because even when it's a clean pocket and you release the football and you're standing there, Yannick Ngakoue falls and rolls on your ankle, and now it's like, well, if I was over on the sideline or away from these guys, that wouldn't have happened, but I'm just standing here, and this guy comes and grabs me from behind. Against the Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson, after Mahomes had released the ball and was sort of just looking down the field, Aiden Hutchinson grabs him from behind and does what Arden Key did, which is lift his own weight up on Patrick Mahomes' body and slide to Mahomes' legs while taking him down. And Mahomes turned around like, what the hell, man? It's been a couple of times in 3 weeks that Mahomes has looked at the ref like, hey, they're going low, and it seems pretty damn late, so why isn't there a penalty there? Neither one of them has been a penalty. So I can understand his hesitancy of, I'm hanging in the pocket, I'm not hit, I've thrown the football, and yet something's still happening to my legs. That I get. But I thought he was incredibly disciplined with staying in the pocket, manipulating that, moving around, and finding the open receivers. And when it wasn't a legal formation or a false start, the protection has been really good for Mahomes this year. It's been really good.
It's been excellent, and it's frustrating that the rest of the penalty stuff has overshadowed that fact for Jawan Taylor to this point, because even though he's $20 million average annual value and all of that, it's a high price tag, I really think we'd be talking about him more similarly to how we've talked about Joe Thuney, if it wasn't for the penalties, which is a huge asterisk, obviously. And so where I'm settling now on the penalty thing is that it is Jawan Taylor's responsibility to be as far beyond reproach as he can possibly be, because he is under the microscope. He is under the magnifying glass, and he knows it. Andy Reid knows it. The entire NFL knows what's going on here, which is he's the poster child for a problem that's not really a problem. He has to be impossible to flag. He has to be the guy who is lining up to the letter of the law as much as possible. But the way this is being enforced is absolutely ridiculous. As I said last night, talking about during the break, if you believe that Jawan Taylor was lined up illegally exactly 2 times last night, you're a fool. It'd be a foolish thing to believe, because that he was flagged for it twice. So did the refs let it go 30 times, or did they call things they would have let go twice completely unnecessarily? The responsibility to fix it so falls to Jawan Taylor, but I really hope that those messages from Reid and Mahomes land at the NFL level to say, all right, we're getting nitpicky here, and not even that you can't call nitpicky illegal things at the NFL level. Because that happens sometimes. But when it's frustrating is when it's inconsistent. And it's inconsistent for the Chiefs. It's inconsistent against other teams. It's inconsistent for the Chiefs' left tackle and right tackle. So I just don't have any idea how on earth you could think that the officiating crew has handled this well over the last couple of weeks.
What will become a problem for the Chiefs, and I think this will get figured out. I think they'll eventually slow down with targeting, Juwan Taylor specifically. What will be an issue is Juwan Taylor tipping his hand to what the play is going to be, because coming out of the half with the Chiefs' first drive was Pacheco. He lost a yard on the run to the right side. Juwan Taylor's feet were aligned. I mean, they were lined up in a line, and they handed the ball off.
Interesting.
Next play, was a throw to Kelsey, and Juwan Taylor's feet were, like he was a wide receiver almost. That is something that's going to have to be fixed, because that's a pretty easy tell. If I'm a linebacker, I'm a defensive lineman, I don't need to call it out to point out that he's doing that. Chiefs probably are aware of that. So I don't need to do that to be like, okay, now he's going to switch that up. But if I see that, I'm keying on the fact that this is going to be a run of some sort, unless they're going to come up with play action or burn you that way, or they start playing into it, and it's like, well, actually, do I have the aces? Right. Or do I know that you think I have the aces, so therefore now you're wondering if you know that I know that you know? That's it. So maybe I'm lining up this way to trick you that we are going to actually throw the ball, or now we're going to run the ball out of this stance. But it's something that needs to be fixed. You don't want to have that tell.
Is that you kind of alluding to the Andy Reid there pulling some guys? Are you alluding to that being a part of what Andy Reid was going from, or is there something else there that you thought was interesting?
No, the Andy Reid pulling some guys. I don't think Juwan Taylor was pulled because he started pulling players. He was the first one pulled there, and it was after some issues with illegal formations and things like that. That, to me, was Andy Reid saying, I said fix it.
Yeah.
I know they're picking on you. I get it. So over mother bleeping correct. Yep. Over correct until you become benign and you fit in with the crowd, because you're Waldo right now.
Right. Yes.
They are looking for you specifically and watching you. That 50-yard pass touchdown to MVS before half. The official on the far side is leaning like he's Michael Jackson to try to look specifically at Juwan Taylor.
Looking through a bunch formation.
Yes. And at the snap, he drops his flag. How many times do you see an official lean one way or another to make sure I specifically look at one person, and that's this right tackle? How often does that happen? I don't know. Maybe it happens all the time. I'm not sure. I haven't noticed it. But taking the still shot of that saying, well, Juwan Taylor, here's this play. Oh, by the way, the very next play, 1st and 15, he's lined up further back. And they don't throw the flag. But the 1st and 10 throw to MVS, the official is leaning. So adjust. And to me, that's all week Andy Reid said, fix it. He's going to fix it. The official's this, official's that. We got to fix it. We got to correct it. We got to fix it. We got to correct it.
Working on it in practice.
Working on it in practice. Then he does it twice. To me, the Andy Reid protecting his player, that I did not take him out because of the issues with the penalties. The first go around, I took him out just to clear his head. Mm-hmm. All right, you got a home, you're back home, you got family there, all that stuff. Just, clear your mind a little bit, okay? We could put him back in there. He was fine. This one, well, I was starting to take guys out anyway. Andy got the cut and the punch in the mouth or whatever it was that he was sort of bleeding a little bit. So I'm not trying to hold that from you or anything. But, we were taking some guys out anyway. Really? Taking some guys out, he's the first one you go to, not your 55-year-old, left tackle. Although he's only 30, I get it. But he sort of looks like he's got a little bit of Willie Rofe in his game of looking like he's a little bit older than he is.
That's absolutely true.
But Donovan Smith's not the guy you take out of the game. Juwan Taylor is? The young 25-year-old?
Also, second week in a row, 2 healthy scratches for Wanya Morris and Lucas Niang. It's not like they came in with extra tackle depth. It's not, if you say, hey, we were starting to get ahead, we wanted to see Wanya out there with the ones.
That's exactly right.
That's not what it was. And Prince looked good.
Prince is fine.
But it wasn't trying to get Prince some work.
I think Andy Reid was fed up with it.
Yeah.
He may have said that this was about getting guys out of the game, but I think he was done with it. Now, Prince went down a little bit, went down and had to be taken out of the game, and then Juwan Taylor came back in the game. But this, to me, was Andy Reid sending a message to Juwan Taylor. After the game, Andy Reid saying, yeah, they're picking on him. Okay, it seems like it. Like the guys are lining up. During the game, Andy Reid saying, I don't give a bleep if they're picking on you. Fix it.
Yeah.
And if you don't fix it, we'll fix it for you. Prince is in the game.
And with it costing a touchdown and then the roll up on Mahomes.
Yeah.
Even I'll give it because I think I agree with where you're coming from. I'll give it a 25% chance that the conversation was they're picking on you and they're not going to pick on Prince and our offense is going to be just fine. So let's do this instead, which is not a huge endorsement of how he's played. And I tend to think it's more of, man, we told you to fix it. Like this, we have been working on this, and you have to overcorrect in that spot. I joke that he should just line up with the D lineman, and I kind of honestly, I'm dead serious. If Juwan Taylor needed to line up so far that he is fully in the neutral zone, where his helmet is leaning out over the football, and if they want to flag him for that, I'd love to see it. Because now it's like, all right, man, I'm too far up, I'm too far back. Come out here and point to the blade of grass. You want me to put each divot of my cleats, each one of the cleat pegs, you just tell me where exactly to put them, and I'll put them there. Make it annoying.
The ref's going to walk up to Juwan Taylor and go, okay, smart ass, that's a penalty too.
Yeah, fine. Fine. Be a smart ass about it if that will help. If for any reason that will help you recalibrate.
Basically like a wide receiver. Like point to the ref.
Yes.
Like a wideout.
Am I on the line of scrimmage?
He really should have been doing that, and I'm kind of annoyed that he wasn't. Because really, seriously, make the refs call. Point. Am I good? I'm here. Are you going to throw a flag here? Because we're going to score a touchdown. Let me know. We're good? Thanks.
I really hope play number 1 on Sunday night, he comes out and points over to the official like a wide receiver that's on the line of scrimmage to let him know I'm on the line. Points to him like, I'm on the line, jackass.
Because that's not only for the refs, that's for Mr. Collinsworth in the booth, and hopefully he sees that because he sees everything.
Yeah.
I am really interested in seeing how that broadcast takes shape around Juwan Taylor and around tackles in the NFL and Lane Johnson and other tackles that have done it and Bakhtiari and things like that.
Every team.
Yes.
Everybody has this.
Yeah, watch the Eagles tonight. Watch his get off and watch his
yes.
dance.
Let's
Lane
see if there's
Johnson, number 65.
Yep, right tackle. Let's see if there is an illegal formation call. Let's see if there's a false start call with Lane Johnson tonight for the Eagles.
And I really don't care for them to get called on any other team either. The point of illegal formation, in my mind at least, is not for a tackle being a little too far up or a little too far back, or a tight end being barely covered or barely uncovered. If you are lining up in a formation that on the whiteboard is legal, good, we're fine. If you are covering up a receiver and then all of a sudden now the defense actually has to adjust for the fact that you're putting out a weird look, that's what illegal formation is for. If it is a deceitful formation or a mental error formation, right? If it's again, hey, you had to be on the line here. We didn't have enough dudes on the line of scrimmage, so this play's bleeped. That's one thing. But going out with a tape measure doesn't do any good for anybody. I don't want to see it get called against I don't want to see it get called against Lane Johnson any more than I want to see it get called against Donovan Smith or obviously Juwan Taylor. Just have some consistency and make sure that the game of football is functioning. And I think that's why the Thursday night overreaction was so strong, is because it was like, oh, Juwan Taylor's totally breaking the game. To say nothing of the playoff game where he neutralized one of the best pass rushers in football to the point of him losing his mind, and nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
It's like people's fantasy football or bad beats. Nobody cared.
Speaking of bad beats.
No. I do like what you said it in the break, but you said that you had brought this up in the postgame yesterday, that there is no way Juwan Taylor lined up in an illegal formation just twice yesterday.
Exactly twice.
Exactly 2 times.
Exactly 2 times.
That's exactly right. That's so true.
It was poorly refereed one way or the other. You just tell me how, NFL. You just tell me, did they not flag him enough or did they flag him too many times? Because it wasn't twice.
Yeah, because it's one of those to where, well, I mean, if you look at one particular guy the whole game, there's going to be holding. You're going to call a lot of holds if you're only looking at one guy. If you're looking at one guy on the offensive line and ignoring the other 4, that guy's going to get a number of holds. But when you're looking at the overall line and the movement that's going on, you might miss a slight hold over there because this guy is maybe blocking that. But if you're leaning one way or another just to specifically watch one guy, you're going to come up with a lot more penalties than you actually have. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. I want to get into the defense, how dominant they've been, a young, hungry defense. Are they one of, if not, I think they're one of, but could they be the best defense in the NFL? We've seen them play really bad offense in the Bears, but also an offense in the Lions and an offense in the Jags that got beat by the Texans at home. But We'll get into that. And Rashee Rice has been talked about a little bit, and other things to discuss with this Chiefs team as they are 2-1, leading the AFC West. And Josh McDaniels is still hoping to get the ball back so we can kick another field goal. I really want to get this thing within 2. So we lost by 5, but if we get the ball back, we can kick a field goal, get within 2, onside kick a field goal, win the game by 1, and you guys think I'm dumb, but that's what I call a winner.
This division rules.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. Looking at this NFL stat, or NFLpenalties.com, and looking at the 2023 stats so far for illegal formation. And illegal formation on the offense, as I said, the numbers that I had looked at last night was 11 illegal formation penalties on the offense, 3 on offensive linemen. All 3 of them have been Jawan Taylor. What I'm counting here at NFLpenalties.com, there have been 20 illegal formation penalties on the offense specifically. 4 of them have been called on offensive linemen. 3 on Jawan Taylor, 1 on, Jonathan Mailata from the Eagles?
Jordan
Mailata. As soon as I said Jonathan, I'm like, I think it's Jordan.
You said it in the break, and I was like, yeah, Jonathan Mailata, that sounds right. And then you said it again. I got there.
LeBron Mailata for the Eagles. He was called for an illegal formation. It was declined. So there have been 4 flags thrown this year for an illegal formation on a player, on a tackle. 1 of them was declined. 3 of them have been accepted, and that is all Jawan Taylor. Well, I guess 1 of them was declined for Chicago Bears declined 1 of the illegal formations, and then the other one on Jawan Taylor was not declined. So the only 2 illegal formations that have been accepted have been Jawan Taylor so far. But 4 flags thrown on an offensive lineman for lining up off the line of scrimmage. 4 flags thrown out of all the games in Week 2 and Week 3, and 3 of them have been thrown on Jawan Taylor. And even the one with the Eagles was not Lane Johnson.
Unbelievable.
And also there have been 2 illegal formation penalties thrown out of offense and special teams in the 3 weeks by Allen X crew. 2. You want to guess which ones those were? Against Jawan Taylor both times.
Were they against Jawan Taylor both times?
They have thrown 2 illegal formation penalties in 3 weeks. Now, could mean that, well, guys weren't lining up in an illegal formation. Could be. And I would have to go and look at Allen X crew and see who they had in Week 1 and Week 2. And it's like, oh, they had this team or they had that team, whatever. But yeah, it'll be something to keep an eye on as we move forward. So 913-912-4810. The other illegal formations have been unnamed, just like illegal formation on the offense. Mm-hmm. Then they've had Jonathan Mingo for Carolina, wide receiver. He lined up illegally. Tank Bigsby, running back for Jacksonville. He lined up illegally. And then something, it was the special teams. I don't care about the special teams. And then, was it Luke Farrell for the Jacksonville Jaguars? He got an illegal formation yesterday. So there you go. That's a tight end, though, not an offensive lineman. So there you go. Those are the ones so far this
some
year.
of those, like you got to cover your tackles. You got to have the necessary number of guys on the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
Some places where the rules are intended to be enforced.
Yep. And there's a number of special teams, illegal formations, things like that, which, I mean, you'll get.
Yep.
You know, covering the center or what was it? Leverage was not an illegal formation, but leverage in the game with the Raiders and Steelers where McDaniels was like, haha, got a reprieve. I'm going to do it again, though. You can't stop me from kicking field goals. Nobody can stop me from kicking field goals. I told you I wanted to kick a field goal, and I'm going to do it.
I guess he was right that it could have been a 2-possession game. I guess it could have been a 3-possession game if you wanted it to be.
Stupid. Well, we needed multiple possessions.
The Chargers tried
but one of those possessions could have been in overtime.
You could have just had the 8 there. You were in the red zone. The Chargers tried to give a game to the Vikings. Josh McDaniels forgot how to do math. And neither of those games are even close to the most embarrassing thing that happened to an AFC West team this weekend. What a time to be alive.
What was that?
70.
70.
The Dolphins put up 70.
A 70 burger.
And it should have been 73. It should have been the NFL record.
They should have
but
done
Mike
that.
McDaniels found a little voice in his heart that said, no, don't embarrass Sean Payton. Any more than 70 would, I guess. Oh!
Can we play the Garrett Bowles? He was in the locker room afterwards, and he's up.
Can we?
Yes, that's bleeped out. Here's Garrett Bowles. He's had a rough go of it, so we would never try to poke fun at him while he's had a rough go of it for the Broncos. I promise you, nobody on this show would ever try to poke fun at the Broncos or Garrett Bowles or anybody that has been a part of that loser franchise for a while now. We would not do that, but here's Garrett Bowles.
Right now, what are the emotions like going through your head personally?
It's tired of losing, man. I've been here for 7 years, and all I've done is lost. All I've done is lost.
No matter what, got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Tired of losing, man.
And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is
lost.
And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
All I've done is lost.
We wouldn't do that.
Never.
That sucks that it's got to be difficult to be a part of that where it's just week after week after week and you lost by 50. 5-0. And you gave up 70. So I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
I would
tough.
never try to take that pain and turn it into something fun.
Never.
Nope, not do that
But
at all.
if you did, it could have potentially been some of your best work.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to do it, but if you did, I would say that if you did, it could be a 1 seed in the bracket of sound.
But I refuse to do that.
But you refuse to do that. You're a higher class of man
That's
than
right.
that. You're not going to punch down.
Not going to punch down. I was going for that, too.
Yeah, if you did, that applause would have been for you.
Okay.
guys.
Right. But you would never do that.
Yeah, nobody would do that. No, nobody with a heart, at least. That's for sure. So the defense for the Chiefs different from the Broncos defense. So we talked about it briefly in the first hour, that when we go back to the Lions game, 14 of those points were on the defense, 7 of them on the pick six. One of those scoring drives was a fake punt.
Yep.
So we can even sort of start to add context there. So there's one against the Jags. One of those field goals was after a turnover and Richie James muffing the punt. It was a 3-and-out, and they got that field goal. So the Jags, they put up 2 scoring drives, 6 points, and the field goal by the Bears was after a Blaine Gabbert interception, in which, so somebody had tweeted me, and I didn't even realize this until they tweeted at me. I'm going to look at the drive chart first. The interception by Blaine Gabbert that set up the Bears at the 35-yard line of the Chiefs, or the Chiefs' 28-yard line, resulted in a field goal. The Bears went 11 plays for 25 yards.
Wow.
11 plays, 25 yards. Todd Engel on Twitter tweeted me and said the Bears' field goal drive needed 11 plays to cover 28 yards. 11 plays, 25 net yards, 2 first downs. The last play from scrimmage at the 3-yard line, and they kicked the field goal.
If they weren't cowards and were actually trying to win a game, you'd go for the touchdown there.
Yeah.
Do you think they were scoring a touchdown there? I don't.
Especially with Fields out of the game. But even with Fields in the game, I don't think they were scoring a touchdown there anyway.
That's when Willie Gay punched him in the face so hard that he had to leave the game.
He punched him in the face. Justin Fields, weak jaw. I've always said that. The Bears took one on the chin. And Justin Fields specifically took one on the chin. I've always wondered, what would happen if a player comes in to punch out the football, but he hits the player, in the jaw. Mm-hmm. Now I know. That player would have to leave the game to go into concussion protocol, and he would have the standing 8 count. He came over, they checked his gloves, they made sure that he was good to go. They threw a little water in his face. He spit blood out on the side. They put the Vaseline over his eye just to get that that cut taken care of, and then they put him right back in the game.
Send him back out there in a 41-3 game just to get knocked out a few more times.
That's right.
Take a few more hits, son.
So that field goal drive set up at the 28-yard line, and then the touchdown drive with the backups. So my fun, if you take this away and take that away, which we have fun with, me having fun with that, the Lions, Jags, and Bears game.
Oh, my.
With the, thank you, with the starting defense on the field in a possession that is not affected by the offense or special teams in any way, shape, or form, they have given up 13 points in 3 weeks. 3 scoring drives in 3 weeks. Starting offense, drives not affected by special teams or the offense. Or starting defense. Right. Starting defense, drives not affected by the special teams or the offense. They have given up 3 scoring drives, 1 touchdown drive to the Lions, 2 field goal drives by the Jags, 0 by Chicago, and 13 points.
It's unbelievable. More importantly, it's legit.
Yes.
I understand it's the Bears,
100%.
it's the Bears, it's the Bears. I hear it. We talked about it a bunch of post-game yesterday. We're not going to – the Chiefs' defense, and this was a common thread. I think one of these Willie Gay clips, I don't know, somebody maybe it was McDuffie, that we could play later had mentioned it, and also Karlaftis mentioned it, but it was literally like a 5-word answer where they say, we wanted the shutout, because we're going to have to get it next week instead. So now next week's when we're going to – and like it felt a little bit like it's the Jets. We know we can do that. And even more so, it felt like, yeah, we're kind of pissed that we put out a great effort and still ended up having that tenor up on the board. This defense is salty. This defense has done it against 2 really good offenses and a Bears offense that, when we talked about it on Friday, we acknowledged there are places where this offense isn't totally a garbage fire. Justin Fields escaping the pocket and doing things with his legs is a weapon. He just hasn't been able to use it enough this year. We were talking about it. I was trying to dunk on the Bears receivers, and Dylan was like, well, they do actually have, they've invested in their pass catchers some. And that he's 100% right. But you would not know that if you watched Trent McDuffie cover them. It is at every depth, man. They gave up nothing legitimately yesterday with no Nick Bolton. Drew Tranquill was calling out the defense, getting guys lined up. They didn't miss a beat at every level. The D-line is nasty. The linebackers are fantastic, maybe the best in the league. And the corners just keep getting better, man. Most of those guys are 3 games into year 2. And McDuffie still doesn't have a full season under his belt. He doesn't have a full 17 games. He's getting close with the playoffs, but I don't think he's there yet. This is absolutely legitimate. And we're not going to see a real test against it next week. We'll see. I mean, to some extent, because the pass catchers will continue to get more talented. More interested to see what the offense looks like against the Jets defense next week. But man, make Justin Fields look like he should be out of the league. Make this the last game that Zach Wilson gets starting for the Jets. Go ahead and end that experiment for them next week.
I think there's a decent chance Zach Wilson does not end the game on Sunday night against the Chiefs, and it is not because of injury.
I agree.
It's because the Chiefs defense just makes him look even more befuddled and seeing ghosts. That was a different player.
It sure
I get
was.
it in a Jets uniform.
Now that guy's going to win an NFC championship.
Yes, that's right. Different player, but playing as poorly as he's played, and against this defense, before those final 2 drives. So the Bears ran 51 offensive plays to pick up 203 yards. Before those final 2 offensive drives for the Bears, they had run 31 plays for 100 yards. The Chiefs' defense, 103 yards. The Chiefs' defense gave up 103 yards. The Chiefs' starting defense gave up 103 yards. The Chiefs' backups gave up 75. Now, 128 yards because that 25-yard drive was still the starting defense out there. But before those final 2 drives, when Blaine Gabbert came on for Patrick Mahomes, at that point in the game, the Chiefs' defense had faced 31 plays and given up a total of 103 yards on the day.
It's unbelievable.
Bad offense or not, Justin Fields was making plays last year.
Yep.
He's still a player that can make plays, whether the offense is atrocious or not. But DJ Moore being guarded by L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie doing Trent McDuffie things, how fast and physical and hungry that defense is. I don't care that it's the Bears, man. That was a dominant performance, and I think this Chiefs defense is for real. Here's Trent McDuffie weighing in on this young defense that we're seeing, one of the youngest defenses in the NFL, and speed and youth all over the field. Here's Trent McDuffie talking about the defense he's a part of.
This is a young, and I keep saying this is a hungry defense, and we got a lot of guys committed to not only just the defense, but each other. And there's a big, strong brotherhood with this defense, and it's exciting to come in each and every day and work with these guys, and I feel like we are only scratching the surface, so excited for the rest of the season.
Can you elaborate on when Spag says my job plus, what he means by that?
Yeah, it's pretty much knowing your assignment each and every play, reading your keys, eye discipline, stuff like that, but it's football and things happen, and sometimes even if you're doing your job, things go the wrong way, and it's pretty much just when things do happen, when things go wrong, or just in any down and distance, being able to make the play when you're needed, and even just when you're not needed, when there's a freak long break and Justin Fields ran up the field, and being able to stop them and get back on defense, it's kind of just my job plus.
The reading your keys, making adjustments, things like that. Let's hear from Trent McDuffie on the stopping the run and his forced fumble, because that comes up in that with the reading your keys and doing your job plus, but what this defense is doing, adjusting with what they're seeing from the offense.
Shoot, stopping the run, I thought we did a great job. Coach Spags called really good defenses, kind of mixed up the looks, and I thought we had a really good week of practice. I just knowing where Justin Fields is, knowing the kind of playmaker he is when he has the ball in his hands, and shoot, when it came to that fumble, knew the certain look that we gave, they might check to the screen, and sure enough they did. And just made a play on it. And, man, all we do, Coach Bags, over the week just talks about getting the ball out, punching and stripping it. And fortunate enough, I was able to get it out.
I feel like there was a little shade there from Trent McDuffie to the Bears. Well, we thought if we gave them a look, they would check into a screen. And they did. They did. Kind of knew what they were going to do.
Yep.
But that's also preparation. It's watching the film. It's seeing tendencies. And, yeah, there may be some problems going on in Chicago right now. But it's the Chiefs not taking the Bears lightly. A high-alert game that Travis Kelce talked about, that might have been a game to where I bet Steve Spagnuolo had the different keys for the Colts a year ago. And if they do this, then this is how we're going to counter. If we show them this look, they might call an audible and get into this play. I bet there was plenty of that last year against the Colts or the Texans or whoever. Yet against the Bears this go-around, it's a stop and a fumble. And even the team speed, and we'll take a break, but even the team speed when we're talking about this defense, I don't know that people would look at team speed and go, Karlaftis. But the play he made running to the near side when Justin Fields broke the pocket and was going to turn the corner, and Karlaftis running, he may not have the team speed, but he's got the determination and the I'm going to run as hard as I can. He got there and dove and tripped up Justin Fields. Because if Fields turns the corner and runs, who knows how much further he gets, because there was a blocker out there. But Karlaftis getting, and I can't wait to see the All-22 to see, maybe there was somebody right there that was like, he was going to be tackled at that point. But Karlaftis is not somebody you think of with team speed. Yet he ran, got to the angle as much as he could, dove, and hits the leg and trips up Justin Fields. It's an underrated play by Karlaftis. He doesn't get a sack for it, but it could have saved a lot of yards, and it could have saved a Bears drive that ultimately resulted in points. And who knows what happens after that. Maybe they end up losing 41-17.
Still would have hit the dang over.
Damn it.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 8.
All right, wrapping up this hour, Victory Monday for the Chiefs. KU, K-State, Mizzou, Sporting, Royals. All winners this weekend. Royals sweeping the Astros because why not?
September Royals, man. They're always good in September. It just usually doesn't matter.
I think this one's different, though.
Yeah? I don't.
I don't know. I think it's different. By the way, the Pittsburgh Steelers had an emergency landing last night in Kansas City.
Yeah. I'm glad that offense could get a touchdown, but that feels like an excessive way to do it.
Everybody wants to be around Taylor Swift. The Steelers like, we came all the way to Vegas. Swift isn't here? Where's she at, KC? Sounds like an emergency.
There are few things more wonderful in life than intimacy. But when erectile dysfunction harms
fantasy focus while he scoops the news. He's on TV more often than he's in bed. He'll break down the NFL without a single hair ever out of place. It's Field Yates of ESPN. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. We had up until 2 o'clock. Coming up in the hour, we will hear from Andy Reid, press conference today, taking care of the Chicago Bears, getting ready for the New York Jets Sunday Night Football coming up in about 6 days or so. And then Mick Schaefer will hang out with us, learn funniest best from the weekend. Right now, let's talk some NFL football with our NFL insider from ESPN. Field Yates is our guest. Field, what's up, man? How are you, sir?
I am doing well. That was more like it yesterday, right? That was the team that we have watched for much of the last 5 seasons, kind of finally putting it together here in the early portions of 2023.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. And, one of the takeaways that we have had on the show and I had last night was, it really doesn't matter to me that it's the Bears. I mean, it's a part of the story that the Bears are dysfunctional and what's going on there in Chicago this week. But this is a Chiefs team that a year ago lost to the Colts, and a year ago they went into overtime with the Houston Texans. It's a Chiefs team that has played some inferior opponents before that the opponents have just sort of hung around. And we were talking about it last week. We're like, look, I mean, Chiefs are 12.5, 13, 14-point favorites, depending on where you're getting it. Like, I feel like this is easy money from Vegas, but when's the last time an Andy Reid coach team just went out and punked a team? And so all that leading into the game field, I'm not going to then back that up and go, yeah, but it was just the Bears, because we can't have that conversation and then dismiss it being a bad team. They did what you're supposed to do against a bad team.
Correct. What happened yesterday to the Dallas Cowboys, right? That's what I keep coming back to. This is a week-to-week league. I know that that's not the fun, sexy answer. You're supposed to take care of business every single week because whatever Vegas says is the line. That's how it's supposed to play out. But no, yesterday was an important, even if expected, win because of the fashion in which it took place. And now that Bears team is overmatched, and we might be talking about them near the bottom of the barrel by the end of the NFL's regular season. But that was an important win yesterday, because I think the first 2 weeks, obviously losing in week 1 and week 2 they win, but it did not feel like a Chiefs-type win. Not that winning with defense is bad, Jason, but when you have the number one player on the planet, he plays on offense. Winning games by only scoring 17 points is not your formula. Your formula is winning games in which you are pushing for 30 or 40, ended up being 41 points, but 30 points and a half, and doing that maybe not every single Sunday, but an occasional few that make you feel really good about the offense's performance going forward.
Yeah, in 8 quarters against the Lions and the Jags, they scored 37 points. In 2 quarters against the Lions, they scored 34. So they busted out in a big way. Did the Chiefs offense. And defensively, we've wondered how good this defense can be throughout the offseason. A bunch of guys returning on this team. You and I talked about the defense last week when, the way they played against the Jags and holding them to 3 field goals. And one of those field goals was, the Jags got the ball at the 20-yard line and went 3 and out and kicked a field goal after a muff punt. I think this is, and we're seeing it, probably the best defense Patrick Mahomes has had, or at least the potential throughout the season of having the best defense he has had. As you look at this team, do the Chiefs have a top 5 defense maybe, and moving forward, that a real legit defense that can win you a game if need be, if the offense say scores 17 points on the road?
Those might be 2 separate questions.
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, I think I'm taking the 49ers over their defense for sure. I think yesterday notwithstanding, I think the Cowboys defense is still exceptional. Other defenses that might be in that conversation amongst the very best in the NFL at full strength. The Ravens are really good. The Browns have been impressive. The Bills, I think, are pretty impressive. Jets and Patriots are impressive. Offense needs to be better for both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles, probably when they get healthy and a little more experience with so many young players, are impressive. But other than like those first 2 or 3, you can make the case for Kansas City against everybody else in the entire NFL.
Yeah, and that's sort of one of the things that is just the conversation they're in. Even if it's like, well, I wouldn't put them in the top 5, but to me, sort of the illuminating part is like, okay, but they can actually be talked about in that discussion right now through 3 weeks. And that's not something even close to what Patrick Mahomes has had and this Chiefs team has had with Andy Reid going back to 2018.
No doubt, it's a different defense than we have seen, and obviously the Chiefs' defense has tended to play well in clutch moments. Right, they've performed their best typically in the postseason, but it's often been a slow start for the defense, and that of course included this year, one game without Chris Jones. So it's hard not to be very impressed by what they have done up to this point defensively. And this AFC obviously is, I think, still very, very good. So it's not that any game is going to be a cakewalk for this team going forward. But I think that defense will be able to build some confidence this upcoming week because that Jets offense they're about to face not exactly one that's going to be lighting up the record books, at least for the right reasons going forward.
No, and we're just never going to get a Mahomes versus Rodgers matchup. It's just simply not going to happen. It is now 0 for 3 in the potential Rodgers and
that's amazing.
Mahomes
What a
matchups.
bummer, huh?
Yeah, it's just it's disappointing. It's just Mahomes misses one game, Rodgers misses one game, and now Rodgers is out for this game as well. So it's just it's disappointing. How long do you think the Jets will go with Zach Wilson?
Oh man! So here's the question, and it's funny you asked this, Jason. Is that not that I often rely upon my friends that are just fans of a team that are so hardcore for my analysis. But I woke up this morning and I thought I was up early with a 3-month-old child, and I had about 12 text messages from my closest friend from college that happens to be a Jets fan, and he is enraged. He is tilting. He is completely frustrated and flabbergasted that this team could possibly go forward with Zach Wilson. If I had told you a month ago that Matt Ryan, who's semi-retired, or that Carson Wentz might be a better option than Zach Wilson, it might have been a debate. I'm not sure now it is a debate because while obviously having to get those guys out of retirement and up to speed on a system is a process, and it's not like either one of them was great last season, I think that the reality that the Jets are now facing is that not doing something is sending a very specific message, and I'm not sure that message is going to play that much longer in the locker room. We saw some real frustration yesterday on the sideline between Garrett Wilson, who it sounded like he kind of couldn't contain his frustration even after the game, right? Like still upset. And I'm not blaming him, by the way. The guy's one of the best players in the NFL when he has a competent quarterback throwing him the football, and they can't even do that for him right now. So it's a slippery slope. There's no perfect option. There just simply is not for the Jets right now. It's not like whoever they were to potentially sign or trade for is going to immediately make them a dominant offense. But the question I think the Jets have to ask themselves is if we don't do anything at all, what kind of message are we sending to the locker room, and what is the potential downside here, right? Because the team did not go all in the sense that they traded a bunch of assets to acquire Aaron Rodgers. It's going to end up being a couple of second-round picks. They did not part ways with a bunch of players to create the cap space to acquire Aaron Rodgers, but they did make several moves this year that were intended for this team to win right away, and the screws are just a bit tighter every year going forward, on top of the fact that Rodgers will be, 40 when he's coming back from a full Achilles tear? Like, that is a daunting task in and of itself. So I do think the Jets find themselves in a bit of a slippery slope right now if they continue to trot out Zach Wilson as their starting quarterback.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN, the regression to the mean and, the NFL year to year and week to week, and one-score games are tough to duplicate, and how good the Vikings were last year in one-score games. I didn't think it would all come crashing down in the first 3 weeks of the season where they are now 0-3 in one-score games where they were just so good. Is this just simply life in the NFL that, the ball bounces your way here or there over the course of the season and you feel really good about what you're doing and you're finding ways to win? And maybe it's not necessarily that good old winner, it may just be that the NFL is just that. And the next year, boy, there's a splash of cold water quickly about how difficult life is when you're living in 1-point game or one-score games.
Totally. There are a few things in the NFL that are predictable. As a matter of fact, the beauty of the sport is how unpredictable it is. But luck, fortune, success in one-score games tends not to sustain over time. Even the Chiefs, and we talked about this recently, had a year where the year after they won every game I think they lost to the Titans on that blocked field goal attempt, if I'm not mistaken, and then went on to win every game the rest of the season. But every game they lost against the spread despite winning the game, right? They kept winning these one-score games, and in the following year, they start 3-4. Now, they still found a way because they're the Chiefs, but still, through 7 games. You would not expect them to be a 3-4 football team, and that's what's happening to the Vikings right now. They're not a terrible team. They're fine. They're okay. But they also were not an elite team last year. The loss in the playoffs of the Giants is one of the most predictable losses that I can recall in recent wild card memory, and they've got some serious question marks on defense. They have not yet answered, despite some positivity this offseason. It's just the way it works in the NFL. It's really hard to continue to win one-score games, and it's really hard to continue to force turnovers in the NFL and generate sacks. Go back and check year over year over year. There are some teams that are better at it than others, but typically the average football team is not going to be able to replicate its success or lack thereof in those categories year after year after year.
The Broncos are 0-1 in 8-score games so far this year. But Vikings are 0-3.
It is an 8-score game. That's right. I just laugh. I was laughing because I started Jason Sanders in a couple fantasy leagues. Their kicker for the Dolphins, and I'm like, no field goals, but still 10 fantasy points, 10 freaking extra points. Yeah, it's bad, Jason. And you know something? I think this is, and I don't know if this is ever going to change. And I'm not saying that coaches that say nothing is exactly entertaining. But I will just say this. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick's at the very top of this list, obviously, in terms of saying nothing at the podium. But part of the calculation there for Andy and other coaches that say very little is the last thing you need to do is motivate your opponent by saying something you shouldn't and leaving your foot in your mouth. And I'm not talking about stuff that Sean Payton said as an analyst last year. You're an analyst. You have to say stuff when you are an analyst and you're getting paid handsome money to do that. I'm talking about some of the things said this offseason. And I like Sean a lot. He's a brilliant offensive mind, but I think the biggest problem with some of the comments is that, he's making those comments when his team cannot what's the expression? Don't write a check your mouth can't cash. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure his team can cash those checks right now. I just don't think they're good enough on either side of the ball. And what's amazing to me is I think the offense has been a little bit better. Russell Wilson's had a couple of moments here. I can't figure out what the heck happened to the defense. This defense was good last year, right? They kept finding ways to make you aggravated on offense last season. 70 yesterday, and by the way, they allowed 35 last week to the Commanders, who hadn't done that in 2 years. This defense is now giving up, and obviously it's a small sample size, 41 points per game. Last year, I'm just trying to figure if I can pull this on the fly here. This was a decidedly better defense last year, who averaged 21 points per game allowed. This defense was legit. They were top 10 defense last year. Now they are a bottom 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, 105 points in a week that they have given up, which is absurd. Brandon Staley, going back to that Vikings game, Brandon Staley went for it on 4th and 1, and they didn't get it, but they still won the game. A couple of things, because we're running low on time, but that decision, what did you think of that, of a yard, a half yard, to just simply win the game as opposed to punting it away and the Vikings maybe going down and scoring to win? And then also along with that, Mike Williams, it's been announced that it's a torn ACL. Is this the end of Mike Williams in L.A.?
That's a good question. That's a little bit too far to go right now. He does have a massive cap hit for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Both he and Keenan Allen, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an answer on that part yet. I will just say this on Brandon Staley, and this is probably going to be something that many of the listeners right now do not agree with, but I'm a fan of somebody who has a plan of attack. And whatever you commit to, fully commit to it. I say this in reference to when the Saints continue to push the cap into future years and everybody laughs at them because they're going to have, negative $120 million in February in the cap and then find their way to $30 million by March 15th, right? So for you're the Chargers and Brandon Staley, you're either committed to the analytical approach or you're not. And would I have faulted him if he had just punted on 4th and 1 from his own 19 up by 4 points? Of course I wouldn't have faulted him, but I also can't say that when I applaud the aggressive decisions he makes in different circumstances and say, hey, he's following the analytical approach, that I can also criticize him and say, hey, change your ways. Some probably vehemently disagree with that. If they lose that game yesterday, I think it's the lead story in sports this morning. I think there are people calling for his job this morning, but it's the live by the sword, die by the sword, and that's where I think he is at with these, these analytical. I mean, I hate to say that they're all analytical, but these are numerically driven decisions based off of like winning probability odds.
Yeah, we'll see. You're right though. If they lost that game, if the Vikings didn't find
it's
a way
the story of the day.
Yeah, I mean, people are absolutely saying he should be fired. I mean, they're saying it now, but if they
Some
lost the
people
game,
still are, yeah.
I mean, they lost the game, and with the fourth downs a couple of years, or last year with the Chiefs and all of that stuff, or maybe it was a couple of years ago. I don't know. The years and all of that stuff run together. So, Field Yates from ESPN, our NFL insider. Field, as always, really appreciate the time, and we will talk next week, brother.
Well, I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
How do you feel about this Chiefs team on Sunday night against the Jets defense? Like, the Jets defense is good, right? They're. I think it's harder to be as dominant when your offense provides you little margin for error.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect this Jets defense to be fired up. I'm not sure it's going to matter next Sunday night, but you got to figure the Chiefs will be able to move the football pretty handily against any defense right now, right?
This is one that I'm interested in because Patrick Mahomes had all day to throw yesterday, and the pass protection has been really good for him this year. Outside of the penalties with Juwan Taylor, he's been pretty good at pass protecting. And the Chiefs struggled against zone the first couple of weeks, and they torched the Bears, who came out and said, "We're just playing zone. You guys haven't been able to figure out zone. We're playing zone all day." And Mahomes and his receivers just tore them apart. And so I do wonder, like, what do the Jets do? Do they go man? Do they go zone? And how do the Chiefs counter that? Because after a couple of weeks, they started figuring out what the defenses were doing, but it was also the Bears defense that have some real problems in their secondary where the Jets don't really have that.
Yeah, definitely a different challenge, no doubt about that. But it should be a good chess match between the Chiefs offense and the Jets defense. And I think the Chiefs defense is very much in the advantage over the Jets offense.
Yes, so we'll see how many more weeks for Zach Wilson, or maybe quarters, who knows. Field, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. Thank you.
Talk to you next week, Jason. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. There's Field Yates from ESPN, our NFL insider. And so, it's Chiefs offense versus Jets defense. That's the matchup. Chiefs defense versus Jets offense is going to be the kid with the magnifying glass on the ant, and and Zach Wilson's the ant, and the magnifying glass is the entire world watching that, going, "Hey, Robert, so what are you doing, man? You already said that he wasn't your guy when you brought in Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So acting like, well, we don't want to bring in somebody else to hurt his feelings. What about the 52 other guys out there playing?
52 dudes out here have hurt feelings.
What about their feelings, man? When the guy's 20 of 53 for 320 yards, 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions in the 2 games that he started since Aaron Rodgers. That's terrible. Good defenses, Dallas, New England, good defenses, yeah. But if you're going to make the playoffs and win anything, you're going to face some good defenses, and he has been brutal. And it's bad when you're saying, what quarterback out there can you get to be better than Zach Wilson? I don't know. Name one right now and figure it out and give it a shot. But I think we're quarters away, whether that's 8 quarters or 9 quarters. This is going to be like a child where you deal in months, until they're a year or a year and a half.
Right.
And then you start going, it's a year and a half, and then almost 2, and almost 2.5, and almost 3, and then, 3.5. And 4. It extends out more and more. But right now for Zach Wilson, he's a newborn child that we're discussing how long his starting, status in New York is going to be by quarters, not how many more games. No, how many more quarters? Because it might be 2.
Do you know
Sunday.
who's behind him on the roster right now?
You.
I'd like to try it.
The only person behind him in New York is Robert Saleh right now.
That's true. On the depth chart, it's Eastern Kentucky's own Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
I'd give it a shot, honestly.
Yes.
You know what else I would do? I'd just call Carson Wentz. Hey, man, this could be a disaster, but it might be fun. Come on in. Start learning the offense.
You know what I would do, honestly? Trade for Jameis Winston.
Yeah, sure.
It ain't going to cost you a first-round draft pick. What would it take to get Jameis? Although now it's different because of Derek Carr.
Now Carr's hurt, and
the
offense stalled out.
Yeah, I just thought about that. I'm like, well,
and still, you're right.
Yes,
they should still call.
Yeah, do the Saints want to give up Jameis? Well, it's Winston.
Call the Raiders and see if they're ready to give up on Garoppolo. Call everybody. Call the Chiefs and be like, hey, Blaine Gabbert didn't look great, but what would it cost? Can you guys get Michelle back?
Call Chad Henne.
Yes,
He's
call
doing
Matt
commercials
Moore.
now.
You should have called Tom Brady already.
Yeah, that's true. You should have already called Tom Brady. That is absolutely 100% correct. I mean, you can call Jimmy Garoppolo, but, I mean, the Raiders haven't got to 20 points yet in 3 games with Jimmy G as their quarterback. Derek Carr didn't hit 20 points 5 times all of last year, and never in back-to-back games. Jimmy G's already 3 for 3, quarterbacking that offense without 20 points.
And I think you had to call Tom Brady before the Ring of Honor ceremony in New England because that ship sailed that day. But if you would have called before that,
right.
maybe the spite angle would have worked.
That's probably it. Carson Wentz, though, there's some guys out there that maybe you give it a shot and say this has to be better than what you're getting with Zach Wilson.
Call Drew Brees.
Right now.
Call Drew Brees in his fresh head of hair.
Where you at? Who dat? I mean, come on.
Anything.
Yes.
It's really
Peyton or
hard
Eli?
to watch. Either one.
Call a Manning.
Arch or Archie. I don't care.
See if he wants to, go and challenge the NFL's rules.
Yes.
Like Maurice Clarett, and try to see if he can be a New York Jet right now.
What are they going to do? Vacate your season? That would be a gift at this point.
How many college quarterbacks would be better for the Jets right now than what Zach Wilson has been?
I want to think of a real honest answer to this and not just the hyperbolic one.
I can think of 2 at least. Caleb Williams and Drake May.
Easy. Yep. Easy.
And then
easy
after that, I don't know. I'd have to really get into the draft, Nick, of where the college quarterbacks and the rankings are. But Drake May looks pretty freaking good,
looks
man.
Great. I'd like to see the 10 best quarterbacks in college football with the Jets offense.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, maybe you'd see the line, but Zach Wilson looks hapless. Like there's
that
just
offensive line is also hapless too. So there's
a fair point.
Doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. And getting a college kid back there with some happy feet probably wouldn't help either.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, I
guess
don't know, something.
You probably don't want to break Caleb Williams or Drake May unless they end up in the AFC West. Then have at it with that offensive line.
That could be the case.
And also, you probably don't want to put him with an offensive coordinator that doesn't know he needs to chip or put someone else besides your tackle on Micah Parsons.
Just unbelievable. At least the Titans were trying to double team Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
When Myles Garrett was going in motion twice.
I don't know how you've seen it. Have you seen this clip, Dylan?
Oh, I got to show you.
If people listening haven't heard or haven't seen it, there are literally 2 tight ends who go in motion together. I think it's left to right as Myles Garrett goes to the other side of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back, and they both go back with him. I've never seen that before.
And it's a delay of game.
Oh, was it really?
It was a delay of game, yeah, because Myles Garrett goes from the left side of the defense to the right, and the right side of the offense, the 2 tight ends go in motion and go over there with them. Myles Garrett then looks at it. There's about 5 seconds on the play clock. Myles Garrett then goes to the left side of the defense. Those 2 guys get up and start going over to the other side, and the play clock runs out.
Oh, that's awesome. He's just going to be a roaming just devil.
I have never seen an offense motion to follow a defensive player and not the other way around. I've never seen that before. That was fascinating. We'll take a time out. We'll come back and you know what? Do we give away the ring right now, or do you want to give away the ring after? Let's give away the ring right now.
Let me give this ring away because I've mentioned his name once. I'd like to mention it again. It's gonna get lost in some of the shuffle, and understandably so.
Okay.
Secondary was incredible. Defensive line was fantastic. But you say, hey, we're not going to have our signal-calling Mike linebacker out here for a day on defense. How are we going to handle specifically a quarterback who can't actually scramble? Drew Tranquill gets the ring today.
There you go.
He had a fantastic game. We heard the linebackers talking about him quite a bit after the game. McDuffie and Gay both talked about him. I don't know if we heard from Chanel or anybody else, but from that crew, I think Jack Cochran got a decent amount of work as well. But really, for that defense to still look like it was communicating properly, on the same page, and we talk so much about how much better they've looked in that communicative aspect. No steps back with Tranquill yesterday. That's a huge victory for the Chiefs defense, and it's a huge victory if you go to Ruback Fine Jewelry. That's where you can get your ring. It's where I got mine. It's where my wife got hers. And once you've been to Ruback one time, you're a customer for life. You can call or text Hal today about scheduling your appointment at 913-649-8811 or visit their website at ruback.co.
And real quick, as we go to break, I didn't see this, but a couple of days ago, this came out in the New York Post that Drake just sent me. Chad Henne passed on the Jets after the Aaron Rodgers injury. I didn't know that. Now I know that they reach out to Chad Henne, and he said, no, thank you. I'm doing commercials with Patrick Mahomes.
Another incomplete pass for the Jets.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com.
Thank you to Field Yates, NFL insider from ESPN. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer, our sports insider from KSHB, or our KSHB insider.
I think it's both.
Who covers sports.
He's in KSHB all the time. I mean,
yes.
So we've got that at least.
That's true. Andy Reid at the podium for his press conference today. Andy Reid opened up the Zoom with a look back at the win.
All right. I have no injuries to give you an update on. The guys are just coming in. So all in all, listen, I thought all three phases did some good things. We've got plenty of room to improve in all areas. And so we'll make sure we get on top of that. And the guys will be in tomorrow and they'll have a chance to see it. And we'll try to get a couple of these things straight. So, but all in all, I thought it was a good day. With that, time's yours.
Coach, I was just curious, after you were able to take a look at the film, were you reaffirmed about Juwan and his alignment? And is there a next step that you take now, or are you just kind of hoping that it takes care of itself in a sense?
Yeah, now that I've had a chance to look at it, I'd even double down more on what I said yesterday. I mean, I just think, they've got an eye on him, and they better keep an eye on everybody else too, because it's to the point of being ridiculous. They got their point proved now out there to the world. So let's make sure we're staying consistent.
Next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
Coach, can you take us through what your conversation was like with Patrick about the ankle, and were you close to taking him out at that time when he first sustained the injury?
It was the ankle can twist one way or the other, and this was more we call a basketball sprain, and he felt comfortable afterwards. So with it, and probably be a little stiff today, but I haven't seen him today to tell you. So, but he was good to go.
Well, let me just tell you, somebody who's suffered basketball sprains, I think he'll be fine. Yeah, thankfully it twisted that way. If it was going to twist, thankfully it twisted that way and not the other way around. Doubling down is Andy Reid. I'm going to double down on what I said yesterday. They're keeping an eye on him, but they better keep an eye on everyone else. It's gotten ridiculous. They've proved their point. Is that as straightforward of a criticism of NFL officials that we've ever heard from Andy Reid?
I think so. Proved their point to the world?
Yeah, they proved their point to the world, yes.
I mean, like, he's got the full mission statement of what the refs were doing here out in the sunlight. They're picking on this guy. I'm doubling down. You better be keeping an eye on everybody else also if this matters to you from a rules perspective, to the point of being ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I think, to my memory at least right now, that's the strongest I can think of Andy Reid being about. Certainly, like, consistent refereeing decisions.
Yeah.
That's not even just one play. This is a memo that got sent out.
Because he has said before, well, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna get fined. I'll just bite my tongue.
It's usually, I'm not gonna go there, Herbie. It's not Herbie anymore, but it's the punctuation.
Doggone it, Herbie.
I'm not gonna go there.
Adam, I'm just not gonna go there. Doggone it. Here's Adam Teicher following up with a question about Juwan Taylor and how Andy Reid will handle the situation with officials moving forward.
Yeah, we talked before the game. But that they have an eye on. It all started on the Thursday night game. So, but you look around the league and it's just not consistent right now. So that's an important thing.
All right. And Richie James, do you have a sense he's out for the season? And however long he's out, is Montrell Washington your guy?
I think, Montrell, I thought did a nice job. I mentioned him last night, and I thought he, he was secure back there, and I thought he handled it well.
You can stick with him then, as long as Richie James is out?
Yeah, I mean, he would be the guy, yeah.
Let's go next to Todd Lebo. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Coach, I wonder if you went back after you went back and looked at the tape, if you could maybe break down a little bit further what you saw out of your wide receivers yesterday, and especially how maybe Rice is coming along as a young player.
Yeah, I liked what I saw. I mean, there's some things we've got to correct on all of them, but there were some good things. I like the way Rice is coming along. So I mean, he's catching the ball well. He's getting up the field. You know, he had the one at the end that was on him, the interception at the end. But for the most part here, he's doing a nice job. When he has that ball in his hands, he's strong and he knows how to get up the field like quickly. So that's a real positive. And I think Pat has trust in him. And you can see the development. 24 had a good day. 11 had a good day. I mean, you just keep going through, and the guys, I thought played well. 84 had a great catch, and so they a couple of them. I mean, he's been productive. So Pat's using all the guys, and they're all stepping up there.
Like Andy Reid going the Bobby Bowden route of just naming numbers, although I think Andy Reid knows the names as opposed to Bobby Bowden late in his career. I think he was just saying numbers because he didn't know who they were. Watching them on tape. Who's this number 95 guy we got? That was the number player in the country. Number 95 is pretty good. Let me talk about number 95, or Les Miles. They would show up with a roster in front of him to do a press conference with the Jayhawks. Let me see who this guy, number 92. Yeah, it says right here he's from Lawrence. So, yeah, very excited about a local guy doing some of those things.
My championship ring?
Yes. The question about Juwan Taylor and the officials said, we talked before the game. They have an eye on him. It started with Thursday Night Football, but you look around the league, it's not consistent.
Yep.
And so there's the follow-up to that of hey, it's not going on around the league, or it is going on around the league. It's just not being called. So let's do something about that, man. Yep. Let's get this figured out. Andy has been seen at Matt Nagy's son's high school football games this year, and Andy says that's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's the coach's kid, so it's kind of fun to see him play. That's I've known Matt's kids since they were little shooters, and so to see him have a chance to get out there and play is kind of neat.
And just the last thing, how important is it to you that, you and your staff get out to their kids and grandkids, games or activities, whatever it is, especially with the demanding jobs you guys have?
Yeah, I think it's neat. I encourage that. And, when I'm old enough to be the one with the grandkids. So when your kids get done playing, there's a lull in the Friday night action there. You miss that part. So the soggy hot dogs and everything.
What are you having soggy hot dogs for, huh? Settle though. Why are you having soggy hot dogs?
Soggy hot dogs and everything.
Soggy hot dogs and everything at Friday Night Football games. I didn't have a soggy hot dog at the Blue Valley Northwest Lee Summit North. It wasn't soggy. Anything soggy about that?
Did you have a hot dog?
I did not, though.
Well, then clearly you don't know ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Andy Reid gets the soggy hot dog at high school football games. Yeah. This is the way to do it now.
Turns out I don't carry enough cash on me to be able to go up to the concession stands to get anything. So I'm like taking the kids up to the concession stands. All right, what are we going to get? Let's see. Jules wants this. Everett wants that. Go to the wallet. I've got 3 singles on me. Let's. We're gonna. Kids, we're gonna share a Powerade. That's what we are gonna do. You're gonna figure out how it was when Daddy grew up. It's just here's pour a little cap full for you over there. Go ahead and take that shot. There you go. Pour a little cap full over there. You take that shot. All right, cool.
Were your kids confused about what this green paper was for when you took it out of that little thing in your pocket?
Why, Daddy? I got plenty of these at home. Yeah, that's fake money. Okay, that's movie prop money. I can't go grab it though, just in case. These are young kids; they won't know the difference.
We can totally run this fast.
They don't know the difference. How badly do you want that Sprite, son? Yeah, so I haven't had the soggy hot dog there. No, just the W is all I was eating. Jameis Winston doing that. We'll see Sunday night, because here's the thing: the broadcast crew.
Mm-hmm. It all started on Thursday night, he says.
They have meetings with coaches before games. So when Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth have a meeting with Andy Reid, I wonder how that will go.
Me too.
About the Juwan Taylor conversation. You happy? Huh? You happy now?
Hey,
look what you've done.
Hey, NBC, I'm not paying for Peacock right now. I don't want to be paying for Peacock. But if you can promise me the full uncut interview between those two guys and Andy Reid, I will at least sign up for a free trial.
Oof.
I will give you my credit card information if you put that whole thing on Peacock.
I think the conversation on Sunday night, this is my prediction, the conversation on Sunday night will be Mike Tirico and especially Chris Collinsworth pointing out that now Jawaan Taylor is being picked on. That they will say, this is going on around the league, and the fact that it's only happening to him, yes, on that Thursday night we were watching it, but if the league is going to crack down on this, why aren't they cracking down on other players too? This is not just a Jawaan Taylor thing. That's my prediction, is that Chris Collinsworth will say the league should enforce this and be consistent across the board and around the league and not just focus on one player if you're going to crack down on that.
Speaking of soggy hot dogs, it's the freaking I think you should leave me. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. I can't believe the NFL's really picking on Jawaan Taylor. Chris Collinsworth, have no idea where this could have started, but the NFL needs to get a grip on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could still save face and say, well, we were talking about with Jawaan Taylor, but if they're going to crack down on it, Jawaan Taylor's not the only one doing this. This is going on around the league, and if you're going to do this with Jawaan Taylor, then other tackles should be called for this, or just simply let it go and move on if you cannot call this consistently around the league, and if this is not an emphasis, a point of emphasis that you want to have happen, because it wasn't a point of emphasis until it became an emphasis of the broadcast.
I think they're going to take credit for fixing the game. I think it's going to be, we talked a lot about Jawaan Taylor in week 1, but today, look where he's lined up. Look, they're going to use Donovan Smith. See, now the two of them are lined up perfectly. They're going to find one frame from the game against the Lions where Smith's further back, or where Taylor's further back. And I think they are going to say, we talked about it a lot on Thursday, but now here they've really been working on it. He's lined up correctly, and we saved football. That's my take.
You're right. They will take a snap from the Lions game.
Yep.
How he was lined up and how quickly he was moving versus a snap in the Jags or this past weekend against the Bears where he's lined up, and then that timing of the snap count, because he's not going nearly on the snap count as much as he was before, or false starting, whatever it was, because I do think some were false starts, and the one that was called was actually a false start. He's not doing that anymore, but the illegal formation has happened and is still happening. Not one, but two. That to me is sort of the surprise, is the emphasis in the Jags game, it was just one. And then against the Bears, it's two. I thought maybe it'd be two, then one, then okay, you got your point. Yep. And Andy Reid sort of said that. They've proved their point to the world.
To the world!
Because Taylor Swift was watching those illegal formations. And when Swift is watching, then Swifties are watching. And that's the whole freaking world wondering, okay, so this football thing, what's illegal formation? Because they look like they're in the same formation every single time to me.
Maybe
what's illegal, what's not? And the person talking to him going, I don't know actually anymore.
Maybe that's the clip we were talking about during a break of it looks like Taylor Swift's like asking a football question to Donna Kelsey. Donna Kelsey answers it, and then Taylor's kind of just like kind of like embarrassed or whatever.
And Donna Kelsey has the bless your heart laugh. At the I can't believe it. Bless your heart. Oh, I do think it was a question of like something that might have been so obvious to Taylor, because she almost felt like sheepish when she was like, oh yeah, okay, and Donna Kelsey just laughing at her. You are such an idiot. Oh my goodness, how dumb are you? My son's never gonna stay around for. Okay, yes he is, because you're worth billions of dollars. You're so smart.
If we can point the Swifties in an actionable direction, they can rewrite the NFL rule book by 4:30 today. I just believe that could happen. I think they could get a new commissioner in charge within the hour.
We could direct them to screenshot or take a picture of every single illegal formation on every other game and post it. And
be
just
like,
tag
hey,
NFL officials.
find the difference,
Yes.
Swifties, and they will spend hours on that. Do you see like the whole Google Vault thing and all of the enormous puzzle that she put out for, I can't remember what it was to unlock. I think it might have been something about the new Taylor's version, whatever. We can use Swifties to the Chiefs' advantage. We just have to ignite that fire.
It's easy. I've already figured it out. It's very easy.
Let's do it.
Takes one quick ask from Travis.
Yeah.
All Taylor Swift has to do is tweet out, why are they picking on Jawaan Taylor in illegal formations? and it's done.
He will be the most famous offensive lineman in NFL history.
NFL officiating will be bombarded with posts and reposts and X's and tweets and everything else. So just as many X's as Taylor Swift has, they will just be bombarded with that. All it's going to take is one. It's like Highlander. There can only be one. It just takes one tweet, X, post, and that will change football because the Swifties will not have it. If she is saying, figure this out, Roger Goodell, then the world will be saying, figure this out, Roger Goodell. You don't have Andy Reid on your ass. You got the Swifties coming after you. And that is not a boat you want to be in because that thing will be capsized quickly. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I wrap it up this hour. One more to go. Mick Schaefer will hang out with us in the 1 o'clock hour.
I'm working on a potentially community notes needed screenshot.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make it happen.
You're going to be able to do it?
I'm going to weaponize the Swifties. They're gonna know what their next mission is.
I give the ideas, I just cannot execute them.
That's okay. I'm an execution guy. What?
That's right. Josh is all about executing.
Big execution fan. What?
We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer.
What's going on?
Sauce Gardner has now tweeted out a video of Mac Jones giving him a what we used to call a cup check. Not a Mitch, but a real one.
Hello, this is Jason Gudenkoff with Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas, the home of $50 over factory invoice. Since 1979.
The Zone is brought to you by Guaranteed Foods, official sponsor of Family Mealtime. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
Victory Monday for everybody. Everybody enjoyed a piece of victory over the weekend. Royals sweeping the Stros.
What year is it?
Sporting, KU, K-State, Mizzou, all winning, all ranked AP and coaches combined. And the Chiefs winning, and Travis Kelce also winning. So that was a biggest
win.
Big victory weekend.
Of the weekend.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, the Chiefs capped off the big winning weekend. They were the last ones to get it done.
A lot of improbable things there, like the Royals sweeping anybody, let alone the Astros, who they've now taken 5 of 6 from the last 10 days, right?
Well, only if they played in the AL West.
Yeah. And how about Sporting winning down a man for like 50-plus minutes and getting a crucial win? They're now a point out of the playoffs.
A point. They're an appoint away from being at least in the
above
table.
the line, yeah.
Yeah, above the line on the table. So it's over the line.
When they first expanded to 9 teams, like, what are we doing? What's going on here? Not the NBA. Everybody's going to make the playoffs, right? Glad they did, I guess. For sporting's sake this
should
year.
They go to 10?
Yeah, maybe
I feel like is 9 enough? I mean, I feel like 10 is like a good round.
It's only
even
34
number.
matches, and so
just like, and they're not like. I mean, they could play a couple times a week if need be. I mean, do we really? I mean, come on, it's fine, not a big deal. But no, Mick Schaefer is with us. Mick, bigger story yesterday locally, the Chiefs or Taylor Swift? Because I know nationally it's Taylor Swift, and I know the answer locally, but I'm wondering what you think.
Well, I told Aaron Ladd to do a defensive story. He went to the locker room yesterday. He came back with the Taylor Swift story. It's like, I'm sorry, man.
What do you want me to do?
The sound was just too good. I chased the sound. I chased the story.
The story found me, Mick.
Right.
I was looking for something different. The story found me. What do you want me to do?
Found me. You belong with me is what he said to the story. Yeah. And he was probably right.
And is that when you whispered, you belong with me?
So it's a Chiefs defense that had been good against 2 way better offenses already this season. So he's right. It wasn't really a story that they dominated the Bears, even without Nick Bolton out there and some other things going on. So yeah, it was. I think locally, nationally, internationally, universally, it's Taylor Swift. It's Take A.
Right.
It's Take A. What are they doing tonight? You think they're going to go to Jason's game in Tampa?
No. How would they get there?
Yeah,
flights are crazy these days.
They'd have like 2 connectors.
Yes.
Where would you like to see them out in the town? What's the funniest place you could see Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in Kansas City?
Kind of like the other place over by my house.
Yeah.
Just middle of suburbia.
That's right. It's just right there.
There's a big long table they have that like multiple groups can sit at the same table. It's just kind of shared. They're just right there in the middle, like hanging out with some of the locals.
Ran into Travis and Taylor at the Price Chopper off 135th and Quivira. It was weird. It was right there. We shot the breeze a little bit, checked up on them, see what their next move is going to be and all that stuff. So that was cool. But I had stuff to do. I had a lot of groceries to get. It was very, very busy. But, man, that thing went crazy in a hurry. And then the Swifties are taking pictures about, look at Taylor Swift.
Swifties are handling it in different ways, by the way.
Is an entire mood. I've tweeted some of those things out, like the Taylor Swift fan account that has like 5 million followers was like, Taylor Swift watching football is an entire mood, and it was just still shots, and it was videos of Taylor Swift with Donna Kelce.
She was into it. You could tell. I think she's a football fan, right? She's an Eagles fan for the most part.
She's clearly a Chiefs fan now.
She knew what to say after he scored a touchdown.
Yes.
Let's freaking go.
Freaking go.
Yes. And then Donna Kelce was like, How rude! She's cursing around me, Travis.
Yeah, I bet Donna Kelsey said that word before.
You think Donna Kelsey's heard that?
You don't think the Kelsey brothers learned it
the
completely
Kelseys
after
are
they
blue
moved out?
collar Ohio.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah, they say that word 10 times on their podcast.
It's sometimes slipped in the Lord's Prayer. Okay.
Yes, that's right. How many Our
And blue
Fathers?
collar Ohio. That's let's go.
How many Our Fathers and
yeah.
Hail Marys you need from me? Well, I don't know. Just stop with the every time you dropped an F-bomb in there. That one does not count. I'm going to be here all night. She is so used to her son that when Taylor Swift jumped up to say, let's effing go, Donna Kelsey was just doing a regular clap like, oh, yeah, well, she's going crazy. This is just my son scoring a
Do you
touchdown.
think,
That's what he does.
maybe had this happened a year or two ago for Donna Kelsey, she would have been starstruck. But after the year she's had of being the star of the Super Bowl, being on Saturday Night Live, being in Campbell's Soup commercials, right? Taylor Swift just sits down next to her. She's like, oh, hey, right?
I absolutely think
Right?
that's how it went.
I think that's how it went almost.
I think Taylor
this
Swift
is
was
just
more
the
excited
next
to meet her.
crazy, surreal thing that doesn't seem surreal anymore because my kid's like a football god.
What if Donna didn't know and Taylor's like, this is actually my seat? Is this yours? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I
So
have
where are you
22.
from? Are you here? What do you do?
The seat saved. My son said somebody else was sitting here. Sorry, I'm not sure. My son said he's got a friend Taylor coming. That ain't you. So I'm not sure. Is he here yet? Is Kelsey's friend Taylor? Is he here yet? I'm not sure. We'll look for him. But this seat is taken. Sorry, ma'am.
What do you do? Oh, you're a musician? Oh, does that mean you're out of work then? Does that mean is that another word for unemployed?
Did you do
Is
the
that
national anthem today?
Oh, you
that's
sell
cool.
T-shirts? Oh, that's nice.
Are you a national recording artist? I always laugh whenever they introduce somebody as national recording artist. Guarantee I haven't heard of him.
That's a great call. That's a
They
good
never
catch.
say national recording artist Chris Stapleton, right? Performing the national anthem. It's always national recording artist. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
For Taylor Swift, the graphic was
Great job.
12-time Grammy Award winner.
Yeah.
It's not well-known recording artist.
Yeah, it even shouldn't even be that. It should be this Taylor Swift, like,
It should just say Taylor
icon,
Swift, Taylor
music
Swift.
icon, or
It should
like,
just be her name twice.
yeah, international icon.
Yeah, you guys just missed. They were showing video of Taylor Swift on ESPN.
Oh, have I seen this up video yet?
No, I know it was a still shot photo,
Oh,
and then
wow.
it showed a little video after that. So it's same videos you've seen on Twitter. I said to Josh when I started the show, Mick, that I've done 2 interviews since the game yesterday.
Seriously?
About Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
About Taylor Swift, the 2 interviews. Both of them went sort of a... let's talk about Taylor Swift and Kelsey and what's going on and how crazy it is there. And, yesterday and and Kelsey and Mahomes didn't really know. But the Chiefs are pretty awesome, though, man.
Yeah.
They're doing really well. Yeah, man, this is the best defense. So anyway, Jason, we appreciate you, James.
James Alexander, we appreciate
Thank you
it.
for joining us. That is awesome. So yeah, a lot of things going on there in Kansas City. But let's get back into this Taylor Swift conversation about Travis Kelsey. I don't know how many places Patrick Mahomes will be in where he's the second most famous person there. But every time Taylor Swift is in attendance, he will be the second most famous person in attendance.
We had this conversation last night.
Oh.
Is Patrick Mahomes third?
No.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's not Kelsey.
I meant
because now Kelsey with Swift is now
It's
gonna
not.
become
It's
more-
not Mike Parson. He's there for that.
Was he there? I didn't even,
the
I
governor
didn't even
was there,
notice.
yeah.
No, my question is right now, he hosted SNL. He had all the Super Bowl stuff. Mahomes is more well-known in football, but everyone in football who knows Mahomes largely knows Kelsey, I think. But I think there is now a relatively large contingent of people who don't know who Patrick Mahomes is who do know Travis Kelsey.
Here's what I would say.
I think that's
it's
getting
close.
close, but
It's
I
getting
think
close.
it's still Patrick.
If they actually become a couple.
Yeah.
If this isn't there's still a possibility that she's in the friend zone with him. Like there's still that possibility. We saw them leaving together in the convertible. They walked together. They weren't holding hands. There is sort of a report of, he rented out.
They bought out a restaurant.
Bought out a
supposedly.
restaurant, and apparently there was some flirting and some, I don't know.
They kept it light and fun.
light and
Thanks
fun.
for reporting that.
Light and fun. What's going on there? But if they aren't in like the friend zone, then in a few months from now, yes, Travis Kelsey would have surpassed Patrick Mahomes on the national stage because he would have the football, the sports fans, and then the Swifties who, when Travis Kelsey a few weeks ago, when they said that they are quietly hanging out, plenty of people were like, who the hell is this guy? Who's this dude?
Yep.
Is Travis a football player? What the hell? that they now know exactly who he is. And those people probably didn't know who Patrick Mahomes was either.
I think it's closing the gap. I think
maybe
that's
it was
right.
closer or more likely that they knew who Patrick Mahomes was at that point, that they didn't know who Travis Kelce. But Mahomes is on the commercials, and he's a pretty famous individual.
I love the vintage photo that somebody took of them driving. Right? Have you seen that in the convertible from behind, and the sun is setting and everything? And there's construction barrels there, of course. There's cones. There's the detour. Like, that's Kansas City.
Travis, he showed her all of the highlights. He went all around. It was like, these are the landmarks. And then he said, now picture this, but 10 times worse. That's Cleveland. So we don't have to go around Cleveland or anything like that. You kind of saw it. You saw a better version of Cleveland right here.
We're going to the Northland. Supposed to where the Royals are moving. Okay.
And there's this place called Inatub that I have to take you to, because if I don't, you will not be getting the full Kansas City experience.
There's this bridge that big semi trucks try to drive under, but it's lower. I'll just show you. I'll just show you. Come on.
Let's both go buy a semi truck really quick, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to crash it right there.
So I know you like people watching, but you can't do that because you're Taylor Swift. I love big truck watching. So I'm going to take you to my place.
We got the Inatub. We're going to sit on the overpass.
Not at my place, but my place that I sit and watch the trucks get stuck. This is great. You're going to love it. There'll be 2 or 3 at least. And we just laugh at them because of how poor they are, that they're not going to be able to. They'll probably get fired. It's so great. And I make like millions a year. And it's just like, find a new job, jackass. And then I go and steal some of the stuff that's down there because that's just being smart. You're going to love this, Taylor.
I tell you what, I don't know how she would handle that. I think it would be unique for her.
She'll write a song about it.
I was not out
wrote a
there
song
yesterday,
about it when it hit go.
But Mackenzie Nelson and Aaron Ladd were out there for us yesterday, and they talked about just the setting, and like I was like, is it becoming almost like a Lakers game out of Chiefs games now, right?
Oh yeah.
Just the stars are showing up for a crap game. Nobody expected this to be a decent game at all, and there they were. It's funny. Mackenzie had a funny story. She was out there. Covering Patrick Mahomes, right? She's in the same building as Taylor Swift. It's going nuts. And then Aaron Andrews comes up to her and says, "Oh, I watched you guys last night. You were at KU. You did a good job." She's like, I almost fainted at that point.
She was like, yes, ma'am. Could you slide out of the way?
And then Aaron Andrews asked her for a picture, and they took a picture together and talked.
Aaron Andrews asked her for a picture.
Yes, they were like, we should take a picture. We're in the same outfit. I'm like, wow, you've peaked now, Mackenzie. It's going to go all down here. Go from you.
Yeah, do you need to start putting out, like, to start taking applications after she ascended to the sky after that day of work?
She even said, I watched you guys last night. You were at KU.
That's really cool.
It's like in the movie Ghost when you see the soul leaving the body. That's what happened with Mackenzie. She
went home and did some pottery too.
With Aaron Andrews.
He even gets that.
I got it. I know the reference. Yeah, I got one.
Unchained Melody was playing in the background while they were holding hands with her and Aaron Andrews. So she's really into pottery, though, is Aaron. So it just happened to be wearing the same outfit, also same interests. Mm-hmm. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Ladd goes there for a defense story and comes away with Taylor Swift.
Did you see the outfit that Travis was wearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Hold on. You guys want the real story on this?
See what it was called?
Hold on. I got the real.
1989 bedroom set or something.
Bedroom set. Yeah.
All right, listen up here, everybody. I got the scoop. Shout out to Tucker MZ Franklin and then TMZ. This tweet's been deleted, but the story on TMZ is still there. Let me get the Kansas City Chiefs tight end was rocking the 1989 bedroom painting denim jacket and pants as he left the stadium with Taylor after Sunday night's game. Kid Super, the company that made the threads, revealed a bit of sneaky marketing after the game, telling folks it was originally called Bedroom Painting, but the album title was slapped on after Travis was spotted wearing it with Taylor. How about that? How about that for marketing?
That's smart.
Good job.
How much is that? I haven't seen a price.
It cost me
next to it.
$300. No, it is. It's $295 just for the jacket.
A little bit more cheap compared to these guys wear $1,000 T-shirts now.
Yeah, no. I mean, Kelsey ruined a $15,000 jacket in the first Super Bowl parade, right? That fur Louis Vuitton.
Oh yeah.
I think that was like $12,000.
Orlando Brown did that in the second Super Bowl parade, right?
That's right.
He was wearing
sure
a
did.
full fur coat.
Should he change his number, Travis, to 89 or to 13?
Oh, that's your favorite number.
You can do it now.
Yeah, that's your favorite number.
Somebody, I don't remember whose joke this is, so I'm sorry for stealing it and not remembering who it was. But somebody said, if they get married, do you think they'll take his last name, Maata? She'll be Taylor Ma'ato.
That's a funny
Taylor Swift
commercial, by the
Ma'ato.
way.
Swift Ma'ato.
Swift Ma'ato. Well,
she's not going to drop the Swift.
It might be Ma'ato Swift. I think you could. State Farm can work with it.
Travis Kelce Swift.
I mean, Travis Swift Kelsey sounds because that sounds that's like a nickname now.
Yeah.
He's Travis air quotes Swift Kelsey. That's actually pretty good. You're welcome, America.
I mean, what a couple. What a couple. I mean, he makes 14 a year, and it's like, so Travis,
She
are
makes
you
that
gonna,
per day.
I know, Travis, are you going to do anything
Yeah,
this year?
Stay at home with the kids.
Have you talked to your boss about getting the raise, or because I know that we have discussed that we really want to do this to the house, some renovations, but your boss is kind of dragging his feet. Have you talked to him
No,
yet?
I think she makes $4 billion on that tour, so I think that conversation. Yeah, you do your little thing. That can be your fun money.
Do your little fun.
That can be your beer money. That's your $14 million a year. That's you. You go have fun with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Play your fantasy sports
Go out
and do
with
whatever it
go
is that
with
you
your
do.
guys. You just
yeah.
use that for you. Okay.
Just buy some convertible cars and souped up, old school
Don't
cars.
put a tag on it. Just drive
just
it around like that because you're Travis Kelsey.
Do whatever you want to do with your thing.
Was there no tag?
There was no tag on it. No, there was no tag.
Just love that that's your
Because what?
plan.
You get pulled over.
Actually, regular people do that all the time,
Yes.
especially in
Yes.
Missouri. I've seen 30-day tags from 2021.
The oldest
recently.
one I saw one that might have been 2021. It was right behind me driving into work, and there was a cop right behind me. I see that car, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Cop's lights behind me come on. I'm like, oh, bleep it. Like this, I don't want to deal with this. I just keep going. I take my little turn. He pulls over the expired tag person. It was
Kelsey.
years and years old. I did not see
Yeah.
Travis. I don't believe it was Travis Kelsey.
Okay.
Also, shout out to Taylor Witt on Twitter for the Taylor Ma'ato joke.
Nice.
Another Taylor.
Well,
Another Taylor.
So many of them.
They all stick together.
there
I
were
didn't-
two very talked about Taylors in the building yesterday.
There was, yeah. The story of yesterday's game was Taylor and Taylor.
It's a tale of two Taylors.
Yeah.
It is. Taylor in the suite and Taylor who is in the crosshairs of officials right now. And Andy Reid is not pulling any punches, as that saying goes, as much as you can for Andy Reid. Because Andy Reid is not one to take shots at officials and will bite his tongue often and even say, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to answer that. But he said last night about Juwan Taylor that the penalties and everything, and it feels like he's being picked on. And then today he doubled down and said, I'm doubling down even more than last night. They've got an eye on him, but they better keep an eye on everyone else.
We've seen
gotten
screen
ridiculous.
grabs from games all over that are showing guys in the
Right.
backfield. And I'm all for calling the penalty on Juwan Taylor, Donovan Smith, whoever it is, but do it for everybody, right? Do it for everybody. Get them up on the line. And I think it's more noticeable. We talked about it a little bit last night in those bunch formations when like the slot guy is right next to him and they're at the same depth basically in the backfield, and one's supposed to be off the line, one's supposed to be on the line. But I thought Mahomes' quote was the best. It's like, listen, I watch a lot of film.
Yes.
I watch a lot of film.
That's right.
And everybody is doing
Yeah.
that. He's no worse than anybody else.
But for Andy Reid to say it's gotten ridiculous and they've proved their point to the world is a come on. And the broadcast on Sunday night on NBC with Tirico and Collinsworth, where this whole thing started, the broadcast team meets with the coach and the players before the broadcast. They have their meetings one-on-one with those guys. So that Tirico Collinsworth producers meeting with Andy Reid will be interesting to see how that thing is colored and then what it sounds like on the broadcast on Sunday night. Because I think there's going to be more of a Chris Collinsworth taking the approach of everybody's doing this. They're picking on Juwan Taylor, but here's video of other tackles or whatever. And if this is a league-wide thing, then it should be a league-wide thing, not just one tackle.
And then probably that will be enough to prompt all these other crews to start calling it on everybody. I was at the game, the Thursday night game, so I didn't see, what did the broadcast do besides just an ISO shot of like him after the penalty?
Oh, they on the
Thursday night
Lions
game, the Lions game.
Oh, they just talked about it the whole time. Like they would be in formation, Mahomes calling out audibles, red 7, wide 80. And he'd be like, and he's, there he is, lined up in the backfield, it looks like. And then he gets that quick start. He's offside, false start again. They'd be talking about the whole game. It wasn't just replays of going, it kind of looked like it was Like they were in formation getting ready to snap the ball, and Chris Collinsworth was talking about it. So it became the entire story. And then on Twitter, it was the whole story. On Twitter, it's all anybody was talking about. And the Chiefs frickin' lost that game, but the conversation was about Jawaan Taylor and the Chiefs tackle. And the stat that I put out, and I said this last night on Sunday Sound Off, but
it's a great show.
You should check it out, Josh.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Last night would have been a great night for you.
I would have been.
Yeah.
I would have
loved
loved that.
it.
I was here.
Couldn't do it.
Well, we each have our priorities. Since week one, so after week one, when the NFL said they were going to crack down on illegal formation, there have been 10 penalties called on the offense. 3 of them have been called on tackles off the line of scrimmage. So you can have an illegal formation where the wide receiver covers up the tackle or whatever. 3 have been called on offensive tackles on the illegal formation at the line of scrimmage. All 3 on Jawaan Taylor.
Since week one?
Since after week one, when they said we're cracking down on
two
this.
in the Jags game, right?
He had one in the Jags game and 2 yesterday.
They declined one. The other one was on the touchdown.
Yep. So he had 2 yesterday and one in the Jags game.
I thought he had 4 total penalties in the Jags game.
False start, 2 holdings, and a illegal formation.
2 holdings
against the Jags.
So all have been against him.
All 3 offensive line illegal formations have been on Jawaan Taylor since they have decided to, quote, crack down. They've only called 3 illegal formations on a tackle in the last 2 weeks of football outside of tonight's
games. How about
games.
overall? He's got 4 this year, right?
So
then
overall, there have been 17 illegal formations on offense.
Okay, but how many on tackles?
4 of them on tackles.
So 4 on him.
3 of 4 on Jawaan Taylor.
But didn't he have one in the first game? The Lions game?
He did not have an illegal formation in the first game against the Lions.
Oh, he never got one?
No, he didn't get one in that game.
He just got the false start.
Yeah, he did not get one in that game.
I
he
thought
got the false start
I got
at the
both
end.
in the first. Okay, gotcha.
And so he did not get the right. Did he get? He didn't get an illegal formation in that one.
I don't know.
No, he did not.
You sound more confident than Mick does, so I tend to side with the more confident sounding person, even when it's wrong.
It's always been a character flaw of mine. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
I could always be wrong.
You entertain the possibility that you could be wrong. Jason doesn't have that problem.
That might not be my mom's name. You might be right. Huh?
Yes.
I do that with names all the time. Actually.
Week 1, Jordan Mailata, the left tackle for the Eagles, was called for an illegal formation by Sean Hockley.
Where's Lane Johnson?
Right tackle.
He's right tackle?
It was declined, but that's the other penalty, other flag thrown on a tackle.
We can watch both of them tonight.
That's what Dylan was talking about.
Keep an eye on them.
We'll see tonight. Lane Johnson lining up in the backfield and how quickly he's off the line. I think there might be some. I think there's going to be an illegal formation penalty called tonight. Andy Reid's come out now twice saying the whole league better be cracking down and keep an eye on them because it's gotten ridiculous and they should start watching around the league because it's not consistent right now. And it's not. And Josh brought up a great point, and he said there is no way that Jawaan Taylor lined up in an illegal formation twice yesterday.
Exactly twice.
Exactly twice
Exactly
yesterday.
2 times.
Exactly. Out of all the times that he lined up, exactly 2 times he was called for illegal formation. And there's no way that those were the only 2 times he was lined up in an illegal formation.
It was probably a lot more.
Probably.
Way more.
By the rule, yes.
Way more. I took a screenshot of the play he was called for illegal formation. The next play, he's actually further back. He didn't adjust at all. He actually went the other way like, call it again.
Yeah.
I dare you to call it again. And the official was like, I don't have that big of stones. I don't have those stones. Sorry, I'm only going to call it once. Plus, all 3 of those flags that have been thrown on Jawaan Taylor have been on the side of the other team. The officials on that side of the other team.
There needs to be a
all 3
study done on side judges, okay?
Yep.
And percentage of calls made that benefit the side they're on.
Yep. The one in Jacksonville, they were going left to right on your television screen. Jawaan Taylor was on the right side. That flag came from the Jaguar sideline, and then both of those came from the Bears sideline yesterday. So 3 for 3 so far, the opposing sideline, and 3 for 3 in terms of being on Jawaan Taylor. So yes, he's being picked on. But that being said, adjust. I mean, it sucks that he's being viewed, but you got to figure it out. You've got to go a little bit further.
That was the one. That was the one positive time it took away a big play.
Yep. Yeah, and then the next play, Mahomes got rolled up on.
Yeah.
The ankle. So if he lines up legally, or at least in the interpretation of the rule by that particular official that day, in that particular time, on that one specific play, in his feeling of it at that specific moment, as opposed to the other many, many plays he lined up the same, yeah, that wouldn't have been. But I think Andy Reid benched Jawaan Taylor. I don't think Andy Reid took him out because he was starting to take some people
obviously
out.
benched him.
I know he said that, well, we were taking some people out, and you got to...
Patrick Mahomes played longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, give me a break.
We were taking... Yeah, you're going to take your right tackle out when you're starting to take guys out, and Mahomes is in the game.
Offensive linemen are usually the last guys to get subbed out.
I think Andy Reid was... Now I'm pissed, okay? They're picking on you. I get it. But this entire week we were talking about you adjusting, you fixing it. You've been called twice, man. Out of the game. Sorry. Fix it. Figure it out. We'll do a little Learn Funniest Best coming up on the other side of the break. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Wrapping up another week of NFL football tonight. 2 games, not 1, but 2 Monday night football. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels, and Mick Schaefer here till 1 o'clock. Hi, Mick.
Fourth billing now. Okay. I like it better when Dylan's mentioned last. Okay, whatever.
All right, here back here with the zone. Dylan Michaels, Josh Brisco, Jason Anderson, Mick Schaefer.
You rearranged the others, but I'm still last.
Oh, sorry, I'll fix that. All right, welcome back here in the zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Josh Brisco, Jason Anderson, Dylan Michaels, and Mick Schaefer hanging out with us.
Yeah, that's better.
That's better,
I think,
right?
Yeah.
Way better. It sounded much better that time. All right, let's get a little Learn Funniest Best here on Sports Radio 810 WHB on this Monday edition of the show. As we continue rolling, Learned Funniest Best is presented by Pyramid Roofing. For a free estimate, 816-966-1101 or pyramidroofingkc.com. Also want to remind everybody it is a Johnny's Tavern Monday.
It sure is.
After the Chiefs game, they give you the percentage off how many points the Chiefs scored on an 18-inch New York-style specialty pizza, dine-in only. So you're getting 41% off tonight. Dine-in only, 18-inch New York-style specialty pizza, 41% off at all of the Johnny's Tavern Metro sports bars. Premier sports bar is Johnny's Tavern, johnnystavern.com to check out all the daily specials, but 41% off with that. All right, let's do Learn Funniest and Best from the weekend. My learned, we mentioned this earlier, but my learned is I learned that an offensive team can go in motion to follow a defensive player. I learned that over the weekend when Myles Garrett was lined up on the right side of the defense, the left side of the offensive line, and there were two tackles next to him, and Myles Garrett went to the other side, and the two tackles followed him, and then Myles Garrett went back to the other side, and the two tackles followed him, and it was a delay.
Tight ends.
Sorry,
Yep.
two tight ends followed. Did I say tackles both times?
At least that time you did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't catch
So
the first time.
he lined up on the right side of the defense, two tight ends over there. He motioned to the opposite side. The tight ends followed him. He motioned back to the other side. The tight ends followed him back there. Delay a game. It was brilliant. I've never seen that before. It was 3rd and 12, and they had two tight ends just following Myles Garrett. So, yeah, apparently you can motion your offense to follow a defensive player, not the other way around.
Didn't know that.
Found it out. That's an actual learn. What'd you learn, Josh?
I learned via WEEI this morning that Bill Belichick is a Swiftie and he has opinions.
What?
Can I try one that's not about the Cowboys? Swiftie to Swiftie. Taylor Swift was in attendance to watch Travis Kelce's game with his mom in the box. Seems like they may be the new it couple. Where do you fall on that? Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, power couple in the NFL.
Well, I would say that Travis Kelce's had a lot of big catches in his career. This would be the biggest.
Well done.
Well executed. Just nice to hear that ever so mythical Bill Belichick sense of humor. It comes out for Travis Kelce with the biggest catch of his career. That's what I learned.
So the two things that you're really going to get Bill Belichick to open up about, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and the evolution of the long snapper in the NFL. Those are the things where Bill Belichick is right in his wheelhouse.
Right.
Mick, what'd you learn?
I learned that no matter what level of football you're playing, even at the highest level, in the biggest of games and the biggest of moments, it's still a lot like you're coaching youth football. Notre Dame had 10 players on the field for the two biggest plays of the game and a goal line stand against Ohio State. There was even a timeout in between there, right? I mean, it wasn't like they were rushed onto the field both times. So 10 players, just almost stopped them.
Yeah.
10 guys. And some big ones there by Ryan Day to run the ball there.
Imagine if they'd have had 11 players on the field. Especially when they kept pointing out, everybody's overloaded on this side.
Yeah.
Like they only have like two people over here on this side. They're running right at it, and they almost got stopped. But I'm thinking maybe somebody was supposed to be there that was on the side.
I learned that Gene Hackman is the coach of Notre Dame. My team's on the floor. My team's on the floor. My team's on the field.
Sir, you only have 4 players out here. My team's on the field. No. This is not basketball. This is football. You only have 4 players out here.
He was trying to teach Raid a lesson, right? So he just kept 10 out there.
My team is on the field. Coach, you probably want to bring another man out there. 10.
Hey, listen.
I don't think Ryan
Sporting
Day's physical.
won with 10 on the field against
Great
11.
point. Great
You know
point.
I don't think Ryan Day's physical enough. That's what Lou Holtz told me. And see if they can score it with 10. Almost didn't, by the way. But let's see if they can score against 10 twice. What'd you learn, Dylan?
So this weekend, the Colts shocked the Ravens, and I learned that we probably should have known beforehand because Jim Irsay posted a message that I think fired up the team.
I loved Wales as a kid, and the thing I loved about them was their majestic power and strength, the biggest, the strongest in the world, yet so gentle and so wise and so mystical.
So I left in this part because it's just a montage of Takate photos, a killer whale that unfortunately passed. Jim Irsay was trying to get this whale from Miami to the, let's see here, hang on, Salish Sea, which is in Seattle territory. So he was trying to transfer a whale from Miami to Seattle.
It's long.
Did it die in transit?
No, it died in his captivity where he had it, spending $200,000 to keep it alive of kidney issues. He posted that tribute and sprayed the ashes around Miami this weekend. And I think that's what galvanized the team to upset the Ravens.
Must have been. Let's do it for Taki. Is that his name?
Takate, yes.
Taki.
Her.
How'd that whale die? It was flying first class.
That is true. His plan was to get it on a 737 full of water, was the plan.
There's no way a plane.
That way too much? Don't they have
could
weight
take
limits?
a whale into the air.
We have weight limits there?
Oh, no.
This was the infancy of the idea.
Otherwise, you just got to lead that thing on a leash through the Panama Canal.
That's exactly
down
right, yeah.
through the canal and back up to Seattle.
Would that whale would have to buy 2 tickets at least?
I would
All
think
right?
so.
If it's going to take up that many seats, you're going to have to buy that many seats for this flight. In fact, you're going to have to buy the whole flight out.
It had to be an
Sorry.
Airbus, I imagine.
Or maybe, there's a connection of rivers and streams between Miami and Seattle. I'm sure there's a way.
You know what they say? Where there's a whale, there's a way.
For like the Shakaski Creek going through Caldwell, Kansas. There's Jim Irsay leading the whale. It's on the way.
Just walking, holding the
on
leash
the
like you
way.
would walk a dog. Just on this leash. All right, we'll go to funniest now, which that could have been. I don't
It's
know.
all funny.
It's very sad. Josh, what was the funniest for you from the weekend?
Just the array of tweets of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce combining worlds. I'm just going to rattle off a few here real quick. Swifties learned the NFL existed today and are now speedrunning every bit of the discourse. Can't wait until 9:30 Pacific tonight when they descend into running backs don't matter versus rung the dang ball. PFF_Swifty. These Easter eggs I found in the EPA per play numbers are a sign that paying running backs is not it. Swifties learned the NFL. The domino meme where the first one is Taylor Swift breaking up with a 1975 guy and the last one is the Kansas City Chiefs changing their name and logo. The Swifties are breaking Chiefsaholic out of prison. I had a fantastic time after we were done with postgame last night after I got home, just perusing Twitter and finding all the ways that this has been the craziest 12 hours that it could possibly imagine.
Mick, what was the funniest for you?
It's a picture of a woman at the Chiefs game yesterday wearing this shirt. It was not Taylor Swift.
Okay.
It was an older lady, maybe somebody around my mother's age. And she had a shirt on that says, "My ideal weight is Travis Kelce on top of me." It was posted, I don't know, it was posted by, I don't know.
Say it was your mom?
No, maybe my mom's age.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know. No, she's maybe 60s, I'd say this lady. And my ideal weight is
God. Oh, all right.
That was the funniest thing.
It's very funny.
Good for her. What was the funniest for you, Dylan?
So the funniest for me was they had a little pregame thing with Derek Jeter and Patrick Mahomes, and that was pretty cool. But then Curtis Seabold of 810 had a great tweet. He said, yes, Patrick Mahomes and Derek Jeter are very similar, except that one is perhaps the most talented player ever at his position, and the other is Derek Jeter.
That's right.
Made me chuckle.
Damn right, that is true. My funniest from the weekend, I'm trying to, do I make this funniest or best? I'm sort of self-indulgent. I don't know. My funniest for the weekend was, this offensive lineman for the Broncos named Garrett Bowles.
Yes.
He had a rough day along with everybody else there in Denver, and he's not happy about how his career has gone in Denver. So this is Garrett Bowles in the locker room after the game was over about what life has been like as a Denver Bronco for him, and it's obvious it's been rough.
Right now, what are the emotions like going through your head personally?
It's Tired of losing, man. I've been here for 7 years, and all I've done is lost. All I've done is lost.
No matter what, got money on my mind, I can never
great
get
remix.
enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Tired of losing, man.
And they stay
And they
there.
stay losing.
And they say yeah.
They do
And
stay
they
losing.
there. 'Cause all I do is
Lost.
And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make 'em say that.
All I've done is lost.
Sad, man. I feel bad for him.
Did you get here at 4:30 this morning? How long did that take?
Well, I had to remix the entire song. Called up DJ Khaled. Well, I asked Kelsey to see if Taylor can call up DJ Khaled
Sure.
to come in to see if they can come on and talk about winning a lot. Best for you, Mick. We start with you. Best from the weekend.
Some people put more into Learn Funny's best than others.
No, typically I just
This
show up.
is from Byron, Illinois, and it is a high school team, and they bring in their lineman to the game in a hog trailer.
Yes, I saw that. That's
I
rules.
did not see this.
Pulled by a pickup truck on the track.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there's about 30 of them in there, and
a lot
they
of
just
linemen.
let them loose.
It's awesome.
And Adam Kramer, Kegs and Eggs, big college football
Love it.
account, he said normalize bringing offensive linemen in a hog trailer.
It's even funnier when they
phenomenal.
actually burst out here. This would intimidate anybody. Look at these hogs. And I tell you
Look
what,
at
some of these dudes are hogs.
They're hogs.
Oh,
there are
yeah.
hogs coming out of that trailer.
Yeah, they are.
It's beautiful.
It's good stuff.
Yeah,
Everything
man, that's
football should
great.
be.
That is great. Yeah, that's really what football is about. They should have brought the offensive lineman out in hog trailers. See what Taylor Swift thought about that. Arrowhead. Welcome, Taylor. The best for you, Dylan, from the weekend.
The best for me, I don't know if you guys saw Rutgers, Michigan. They had an Aussie-style punt where the guy was full sprint and nobody really picked him up. He almost could have picked up the first down by himself. And on the run, he punted it almost, it was from about the 25 to the 5 in an Aussie-style punt.
Wow.
And it was awesome. If you find it online,
awesome.
Nate Tice posted it. He was actually the one calling for someone to post a replay of it because it was so awesome. So
I could do that.
Yeah, I mean,
25 to the 5. My own 5.
Yeah, like that's only a 10-yard punt. I don't see what the big deal is.
20, but yeah.
Also, why
Yeah,
are you?
25 to 5 is definitely not 10.
Also, why are
That's
you?
tough math for you, though.
Why are you punting from that angle? Is it Brandon Staley or it's like what's the deal there? Speaking
would
of
you dare punt
speaking
from your
of-
own 25?
Speaking of terrible math, me and Brandon Staley, or Josh McDaniels, I guess would be the actual math. I'll get it right. Can we start that over?
The Chiefs already have
Can we
just a
start that
clear
over?
one-game lead
Josh
in the division.
McDaniels is Brandon Staley, both of them. Although Josh McDaniels was way worse than Brandon Staley because at least part of Brandon Staley's thought process is that they still have to go and score a touchdown, which they didn't do. So at least that's part of the thought process
He's
there.
worked out at least.
He knew what the score was.
Yeah, he knew what the
He
score
at least
was.
knew what the score was.
Josh McDaniels, Jason Anderson, terrible at math. He
said-
kicks a field goal down.
He said we
8.
needed 2 scores anyway.
So, well, we needed another possession anyway.
No.
But that other possession could have been in overtime.
No, you didn't need one, actually.
It could have actually been in overtime
And
for another possession.
I actually think, and you guys might have looked up the numbers.
Probably not.
If they get stopped on 4th down there, at that point, I would bet they have a better chance of winning than if they kick the field goal.
Oh, but here's what's great about kicking the field goal there the second time. They kick the field goal the first time. The penalty gives them a first down. They kick the field goal the second time a minute later.
Minute 30.
There's
or
a
something
minute
like that.
off the clock to do the same thing. They got the ball back with 12 seconds left?
Well, I'm
Could have been a
hoping
minute 12?
at least once they take the penalty, they're like, okay, we can still score a
Yeah.
touchdown here. I mean,
But after that, it's a minute later in the game. Like if you were going to take the field goal there and say we could stop and get the ball back with enough time, because with our timeouts we could stop them and maybe get the ball back with like a minute 12 or whatever. No, they got the ball back with 12 seconds. It's
no, but
crazy.
I mean, because they're backed up. They're on the 8, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the other team would have had the ball on the 8 and
Yeah.
would have been way more conservative.
My best from the weekend was if you Louisville was playing Boston College and there was a player. The video's going around. There was a player that's on the the right side of the offense. They've got 3 wide receivers out there. They go and they fake the wide receiver's quick screen. And they fake it, and the wide receiver jumps up and then starts doing a cartwheel to really throw him off. Man, it's like, I want you to sell this So he does a cartwheel while they're faking the throw out there, and then they throw back the left side for like a 60-yard touchdown. And the coach after the game said, we actually wanted him to jump up and do the splits. But he said he couldn't do it. He wanted to do a cartwheel instead. That's what he did. They planned that. They put that in there. Do a cartwheel in the middle of the play. Josh, your best?
Another summary of the weekend from Platinum Sombrero on Twitter. So, Chiefs win by 1 billion. Broncos lose by 1 billion. KU and Mizzou are ranked. K-State almost ranked. Raiders face plant on Sunday Night Football. Taylor Swift's the queen of Kansas City. Royals sweep the Astros for no reason other than just to inflict pain. We're so back.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio.
tonight.
Wait, what are the 2 times?
The times for the games tonight?
Yeah.
6:15 and 7:15.
I liked it better when they were staggered more. Like one started at 4.
Yeah,
one started at
Eagles
7.
Bucks is 6:15 and Rams Bengals 7:15. You know, we already gave out the ring, but if I was going to give out my own ring, it'd be to
thank you.
to Giddens.
I gave it to Drew Tranquil.
No, TJ Giddens. We'll talk more about this as the week goes on, but
four
38 touches, 293 yards, and 4 of them.
When the starting RB's out and your starting quarterback is banged up, great performance.
He was unbelievable all weekend long.
Join us for steak night at Rye Restaurants. Every Sunday at Rye Plaza and Monday at Rye Leawood, they feature a 3-course menu with choice of salad, steak or chop, side, and a slice of the award-winning pie.